I submit. Begging for your mercy. Please for the blood. Yahoshua HaMashiach. Flee this place. To the 12 tribes for a while we scattered. Only gonna take the most high. Yahweh to bring us back home, baby. Josiah. Attention. Form a line, Zion. From Abraham, Yitzchak to Yaakov. We must let the world know we are the chosen seed. No seed or nation above thee. I am marching to Zion. Harvest can't find them. His farmers keep dying. I was crying. My pastors keep lying. Praying to find them on top of my Zion. Just keep proclaiming, no looking behind it. Stand like a lion. No fear for no dying. Easy selling. It can't compare with the promise he shared with the blessings he came with. Took the safe niggas up from the main city. We operate. He kick out is our basis. That is the waiting. This ain't break the baiting. Our marching on daily to Zion, baby. Of course, game. The host was game. I'ma do the thing. I can't leave. I hear my other calling me, baby, yeah, he begging me. I'm out of hub before this beast get the best of that. I said, can't test me, but this word is the rest of it. Just to see through all the sin and calamity. Hard to keep my sanity, so look for where your blessings be. Listen be, and your heart shall be wherever heaven be. So see, I keep, and then you shall find. I say the truth, brethren, as you must your way to Zion. Ain't lying, I'm ducking and dodging. Get the big boost out when your holder be calling it. Get it, man, leave. The rush can leave. Step for step, as I march my way to Zion. Your host was game. I'ma do my thing, let the world carry me. Get it, man, leave. I'll be on the front line. March, stop. I'm marching to Zion with the soul be flying. My home is on fire and I can't retire. My people is free, we taking our freedom. Look at my people, look how we be treated. We all like the shit just to climb up the hookah. They got the chosen, he crack up they food up. Look at that soldier, look at your marching. His word I just hard now, listen, no talking. Down in that mountain, the house was walking. Teaching and feeding until I was walking. Just like the Cowboys, come when they marching. Everything they people talking that we're marching.
Maybe some tear gas ahead. I say to you this afternoon that I was going down the highways of Alabama and made a butchery of my country. I say to you, we must don't panic and remember that we must remain true to nonviolence. I'm asking everybody in the line. Can't be nonviolent, don't get it. You can't accept blows without retaliating, don't get in the line.
Alright, come take a ride through my 7 to 65. It's bloody, I ain't lying. They dumping the past the time. They malicious. 600 can be my witness. For freedom, we the victim. It sound like a contradiction. We puzzle. Won't let that voice get muffled. They locked us up by the 100, but the movement never fumbled. I'm humble, just to speak for my brothers. We struggle just to suffer with rights for the last supper. Mary and this blood ain't no talk around on this subject. I want the bloodshed when my grandmama deemed worthless. It's something purpose, but take a look even further. Our freedom we regret it while screaming I bloody murder. Half a century later, just slip with that blood turned up. Mars just a run, it's sort of what smoking told up. Looking on the Zion, oppressor man can't hold up. We're climbing up the mountain that Martin Luther the spoke of.
We fought on that bridge where we marched and we sang, for the nation saw our pain. Bloody Sunday, Bloody Sunday, Bloody Sunday, Bloody Sunday.
You was right, shed in the blood the early Sunday morning. Shots to the head with the nation's eyes on it. As they bled on that bread, says they all scream glory. Had to step about these rights, but never did they
were at. They died in the stand, I guess they meet the father early. Find something better than surviving in the dirty. Wanna live and can't be free. From persecution and my people be. And we march with the king, hand in hand with Martin Luther. Facing the pen, the tear gas, and the ruga. So don't let them fool you, they did it for fun. And they got you thinking change is Obama than one. When my people cry, they still cry blood. Taking that they choked out in the sun. So kumbaya, we need you in a hurry. Drop the seas through mud down here on Bloody Sunday.
Oh, what a day it was.
Yeah.
On that bridge, we march and we sang. The nation saw our day. Sunday,
My folks fought for freedom and the book back to this heathen. Just for no reason, they shot Jimmy, he ain't breathing. Me and my folks retaliating, listen what King said. He wanted non-violence, he wanted peace instead. My people wanted their voice to be spoken for. But all the broken folk, we had to pass a test, since you joking, bro. The whole nation saw our fight and our struggle. My people was oppressed while Jim Crow had a jungle. My people was united on that highway with Mars. The independent bridge where history plays hard. Yeah, it got bloody from the whips and the hoses. The state troopers can hold us. Now we marching with Rosa. They put it on my mind, so we put them on their shoulders. These dudes stood in line, trying to be close to our culture. Civil rights we march for, they keep it on your mind. We broadcast it live from Selma's going down, down.
what a day it was. When we fought on that bridge, where we marched and we sang. For the nation saw our pain. Bloody Sunday, Bloody Sunday, Bloody Sunday, Bloody Sunday.
In November 2008, the United States of America elected their first African-American president. This moment in history would never have been possible if it wasn't for the many sacrifices and much bloodshed during Bloody Sunday. To figure out where we are going, we must first know where we have been. Let's not allow that movement to be in vain. Say lies. Say lies.
Okay, welcome everybody. I'm so glad you could make it. I see some people are still coming in. All right. Oh, let's see how many. Wow. Y'all came in here pretty quickly. Top speed. I hope everybody is doing well. We're going to do this hangout today. I'm going to put the link in. And if you want to join the panel, please do. We're just going to go over some current events and topics that have occurred over this past week. So please click on the link. Brother KD, please join the panel. Okay, let me know if you have a problem getting the link to work. Shalom, Queen. All right, here's the link to the panel. Okay, it's for anybody that wants to join the panel. Shalom to everybody entering the room. And shalom, Johnny Thomas. All right. We're going to go over a couple of articles that I pulled up that, it's just going to be fun to talk about and give our opinions. And we always have a nice gathering.
Hey.
Hey, welcome, J Dog. Welcome, KD. Welcome, Queen True Royal. We always have a nice gathering. All right. I think that might be me. Hold on. All right.
Peace and blessings, fam.
Ooh. Turn my volume down. All right.
I was planning to do a live stream today because I wanted to talk about an issue that's about to go on.
Oh, okay. All right. What time are you going to do your live stream, J Dog?
Well, first of all, it's whenever I'm finished with this one.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think I could talk about maybe one of the topics here.
Okay. Okay.
Hello, Queen Lisa. How you doing today?
I'm all right, KD. I'm glad you're here.
Much obliged.
Go ahead, J Dog. What were you gonna say?
Yes. As you should know, that tomorrow, June 11th, is when the FCC is supposed to end the net neutrality thing, unless of course the government decides to make a law called the CRA, or if the courts decides to reverse the FCC's decision to repeal net neutrality, which they still can, despite even if it expires tomorrow. So if you see anything funny happening with your connections, the internet, or going to certain websites, that most likely may be the reason.
Okay. Yeah, I know that has been a hot topic around for quite some time. And this is just another attempt to keep certain voices silent out here. And, although the news media actually get less audience than the people online on the internet, because, a lot of people are no longer watching mainstream media because they just simply don't tell the truth when they do the news. We know we're being misled and lied to. So this is just their final attempt to try to just control us, keep voices.
Yeah, I pretty much believe that. And it's been done by this guy named Ajit Pai. But if they can get if the people activists, they're supposed to be doing protests and stuff, and they're gonna try to use the midterm election to get some people into the office so they can finally make some new laws to basically restore net neutrality and maybe even start going for a public option internet service instead of depending on the ISPs.
Yeah, nothing more than a cave beast propaganda machine. Next thing.
Yeah, that's really all it is. But you know what, J Dog? I don't know how they're going to get it through the elections, because if you notice, anytime Trump endorses candidates, they lose.
Yeah, that's the thing. And whoever is supporting Ajit Pai, the chairman of the FCC, is an Indian dude, by the way.
Yeah, I know who. I've seen him before.
Yeah, a lot of progressives and Democrats have been winning primaries to take on some of these Republicans in order to take back the House and Senate.
Yeah.
So whoever is against net neutrality has to be careful not to do a vote that's going to have them booted all out of office by this November, or even sooner when in the case of the primaries, because there's still primaries going on. Majority are supposed to happen all the way till I think August. Not to mention Comcast, who is one of the people that supports the repealing of net neutrality, can't really do anything until a clause that they had in a contract expires in sometime this fall.
Mhm.
So you may not see changes right away. Some of these companies are also going through court cases, being sued because the net neutrality repeal could be considered a violation of freedom of speech, which means the courts could basically reverse everything and restore net neutrality. So we might not even see big effects happen. Um, and there might be ways to dodge some of the big effects, like being able to still afford certain websites because they have to go through stuff in order for the effects. And then if you have to call your representatives and tell them that are in the House to tell them that you want a net neutrality system, and or you'll be out of office. And there's a lot of people doing that right now, that a lot of people are rallying to get people in the House to vote to restore net neutrality, because the Senate, they passed and to restore net neutrality. Now they're trying to get the House, they're trying to get Trump to do it, because I think he doesn't know about net neutrality. And if not, that they also need to find a way to build a override of any veto that Trump creates.
Yeah. Actually, we're going to be talking about him today because he made a spectacle of himself at the G7. So
I saw that.
they said Trump actually made the entire meeting chaotic. He turned the whole meeting into a big argument. So, but are we surprised? No.
That's because he wants to defend Russia.
Yeah,
They don't like Russia. A lot of the Western Europeans are not happy with Russia, but he wants to defend them. Some
Yeah.
of them are not even happy with Israel.
Well, I don't know why a U.S. president would go to a meeting with other world leaders, and instead of being concerned about his nation, he's sitting there defending Russia. I mean, that I moving on.
Yeah. We all know that politicians defend their own interests, and Trump is no different. He's no different.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to cover a couple of topics that I pulled up. Let's see here.
I'm surprised no one was able to get in mainstream media about his situation with RuPaul. I'm the only one who covered it.
Really?
Yes. There was an issue that RuPaul claimed that Trump did not know that he was not a real woman and was touched inappropriately during the early 90s. It was on an article, and I was the only one YouTuber that most likely talked about it. I think I shared the article. I do have a video on it. And a couple of yeah.
Okay. That's pretty disgusting.
Yes.
Okay.
Trump very lucky that did not get mainstream media coverage.
Yeah, that would be pretty embarrassing that he thought RuPaul, who most people have seen, he didn't know that was not a woman.
I know. I mean, that's what my mother told me the other day, that he would have just basically go on a rampage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, y'all. I have this story that happened to a 20-year-old Black woman in Southfield, Michigan. She went into a Target, and when she was trying to exit the store, of all things, a Black security officer accused her of stealing a bikini. He actually grabbed her skirt and did a forced strip search in front of customers, in front of Target employees in the store. Finally, a second white police officer came up, handcuffed her, okay, and was shouting She got the stolen bikini panties on as he's dragging her out of the store. Come to find out, here she is right here. Come to find out, she stole nothing. She didn't steal anything in that store. And this occurred on May 22nd. Since that happened, the black male security guard that started the whole thing was fired. But she is still moving ahead with a lawsuit against Target. And I sure hope she gets that white cop that screamed she had the bikini bottoms on as he was dragging her handcuffed out of the store. But this is the bullshit that we have to deal with in this country constantly. This shit just never die out or go away.
I did a video.
Yeah.
I did a video on black cops lately. That was one of the videos that I uploaded on both Black Spot TV and my YouTube page. I can't do nothing on Black Junction right now because they're moving to a different server, so you can only import videos from the other websites. But anyway, I was talking about how these black cops are just, they are willing to turn on their own people until they end up getting their end moment. And then all of a sudden they want to come back to the community, or they try to get Blue Matters to support them, or they try to get set up GoFundMe's like this one guy who's just talking trash about people that are against the cops, and then he got fired because he said some stuff he shouldn't say. And then basically no one comes in to help him like they would help the white cop.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't like black cops. I don't like any cops. To me, you have to have a certain nature to even want to do that kind of job. And you know, even as a black cop, your target is going to be your own people. You know, there's no way around that. KD, what do you think?
Well, since this event is near me, Southfield just like 10 minutes away from Detroit, and I actually have I'm actually closer to this incident, and I just want to say to the Negro peeing cop who started this crap, he should be arrested right along with the security guard. How in the world you're gonna let your own woman get degraded like that? I am sick and tired of these Negro peons giving these KBs a damn pass. So as far as any charges coming from the security guard, lock up the damn Negro peon cop as well. I am sick of this. And you wonder why they're looking at us in a non-respective way? Because we're giving too many damn passes to these KBs, allowing to violate our sisters like this. Enough is enough already. If I was there, I would have kicked his ass.
Yeah, it gets tiring. Queen, True Royal. Is she muted?
I think she is.
Let me see. She's probably on mute. True Royal, are you there? No, I don't think she's on the panel anymore. I don't see her. Okay, maybe she'll come back on. Okay. But yeah.
Oh, she said she needed a link.
Oh, I thought she was on. Okay, let me give
Yeah, I thought she was on too.
I'm giving you the link right now.
I mean, but to further my point, Lisa, I mean, you got some of these docile ass Negro peons giving KBs like this a pass. So whatever charges that this security guard should get, lock up the damn Negro peon too. Fuck him for giving KBs like this access to our damn women like this. Despicable.
Yeah, I agree. True Royal, if you can't get on the link that I posted in the chat, I will email it to you.
I think I see her. I think she's back on.
Okay.
I'm here, Lisa. I had accidentally deleted myself because I was uploading a video.
Oh, okay. Okay. Did you hear about this story?
Which story are you talking about?
There was a black woman, this black woman right here. She went into Target.
Oh, no, I did not hear, but I was listening to this when you were talking about it.
Okay. Now,
yeah.
when she was on her way out, she got stopped by a black security guard that accused her of stealing a bikini. He actually did a forced strip search of her in front of everybody in the store, the employees, the customers, and just started ripping like her skirt off and just tearing her clothes off. She did not steal anything. Then a white cop came up, handcuffed her. And then as he was dragging her out of the store, he was yelling, "She got the bikini bottoms on." And he was dragging her out. And she got arrested. Come to find out, she didn't steal nothing.
You know what? You would think all the news that's been out, sometimes it makes me wonder, do people even paying attention what's even going on in this world? I mean, I'm talking about just law enforcement alone, because every day you hear, it don't be one throughout the United States, it be tons of them hearing something foul they have done, and then everybody's filming everything. I didn't came to the conclusion, since they love talking about IQ, they got the lowest IQ on the planet, because they lack, and this is something that we have to really take in consideration. They lack any empathy. Their pineal gland, again, is I think is calcified probably a little over 70%. It might be even more with this bad food. And we have to understand that. And I heard this something that Keith Newsom said a week or so ago that made me even think harder, that you are dealing with an animal, and they can sense fear in a person just like a dog. And he was saying, which shocked me to the core, when they have dogs around them and they are in heat and that mating season come, the white woman and the white man get sexually turned on by animals, dogs, when they get in the heat. I was like, what? So we have to rethink how we gonna deal with them, because my thing is, I'm getting home. I'd be happy to get the ticket. I'm getting home because I know I'm dealing with an animal, and I can understand us getting mad right then and there. And you in a back alley, probably someplace with these folks. It ain't time to be judge and jury when it comes to your life. You're dealing with a beast. So my attitude about it now is, I'm gonna start studying, how do you deal with a fucking wild animal, a wild dog? What are the steps that you can take? Because that's what we're dealing with. They lack any common sense or anything like that. And that's how I've been looking at them, as animals. Some of them are tame, but most of them are not.
I agree. And here's the thing. I hear some feedback.
Okay, I have nothing on.
Okay. All right, I don't hear it anymore. Here's the thing.
It might be my sister.
Excuse me?
It might be my sister, but I closed the door. She just got back in the house.
Oh, okay. Now, here's the thing. Many of our women are going to have to consider not going into these stores alone. I know that may be an inconvenience, or going into these places, because we saw the Waffle House incident where those cops tore that woman's top off. And now we got this woman, 20 years old, and, in a normal place, she should be able to walk into a Target or any store and do shopping and leave.
Yes.
See another incident with a black female that was shopping alone, and she was accused of stealing something when she didn't take anything, and she got physically attacked, not by one man, but two.
Lisa, the one that I'm pissed off with the most is the Negro peon that accused her, which he should have done his thorough research before he freaking violated her and sexually harassed her in front of the whole damn store. So I say when the judge should throw the book at him, I won't feel shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shame on him.
And the thing is, True Royal, I mean, can you imagine a humiliation of a security guard grabbing you and just tearing your clothes off?
Yeah, that's just too much.
Don't they have surveillance that they can look at to see what?
I'm pretty sure. It got to be something out. They probably suppressing it right now. It has, because they got cameras everywhere now these days. And see, the thing is, a lot of times they already know that we telling the truth. They just want to psychologically damage you.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna send you and I gotta pull it back up. I was gonna send you the email, the brother that got beat down in Mesa, Arizona.
I saw that.
Yeah, you can tell that. And I don't know if you've seen the video where I had the audio. I had the one that didn't the surveillance camera that they had at the apartment complex. You didn't have no audio on that, but they have those cameras on them.
Yeah.
And it's 20 minutes, and they did everything they could do to try to break his spirit. And they tied his feet up with a leather strap. They put a spit bag over him, which he didn't try to spit. They put their knee all into his back, crushed it, pushed his head into the floor real hard. He had already had on the cuffs, and he cussed them out all. He would not shut up.
I saw that.
And it was like, that was the last piece of his manhood. So I didn't blame him. I really felt for him, and you could tell he's a strong man, but I could see, and it was just like about a 2-minute little segment. You can see that they then really got to him. I'm gonna tell you something that happened that got to me, an encounter I had with the police. My oldest son at the time was 14 years old, and he was already about 6'1" at 14. And it was just me and him at the laundromat, and we were almost done, and my son was taking clothes to put in the car, and this cop comes in, and a big old white cop, tall, and a Filipino woman or something like that. And he was aggressive, how he was just walking in the laundromat, and everybody was looking at him. When my son came back in the laundromat, he started hollering, "We just got a call of some young man harassing people at the laundromat and also in the parking lot." And he zeroed right in on my son. By then, we all back outside then. So he's proceeding to lecture my son, and I'm speaking up too. And then damn near all the people came out of the laundromat, and they were saying that young man wasn't doing anything. It said, now, mind you, I'm in a white neighborhood, and they said he was just folding clothes with his mother. And in fact, somebody said that they had admired him, that he was in there working with his mom. That man did not want to hear shit. So with my son, he kept talking crazy to my son. And you know how when your children are teenagers, you fuss at them and they'll try to throw their shoulder and walk away or something because, they about to cry. And he was, he was shamed. So he didn't want nobody to see his tears. And he was like, "What you walking away for?" I said, he's 14 years old. And he's, so what he did was he did the strange thing. He took his neck and kind of rolled it hard like he was gonna snap it. His face was real red, and he's hollering at my son. And I'm like, "You don't holler at my fucking son. I just wasn't gonna stand there and take it." So the other cop, she's looking down at the ground. She know this is all BS. Lisa,
yes,
when I got home, I was so angry because I'm a I'm afraid to get angry. My anger is not healthy, it's violent. I hit the refrigerator so hard, I almost broke my knuckles, and you could see the imprint in there. I wanted to kill that motherfucker because he had scarred my son right then and there. So then what happened, my father was still living, and I told him about it. My father said, you go to the police station and inform them what happened. And I was like, okay. So I did everything. We know nothing was not going to happen. But my father, and I had my son with me too. They took the whole report, and we were able to hear when they called the cops. Somebody went to a telephone booth right next door to the laundromat. You could tell they tried to disguise their voice and outright lied. Said my son was harassing people, screaming at them, and all of that. That's how dirty these people is.
I think they're making these things up just to go after black men.
Yeah,
I really do. And I think that, unfortunately, Queen, I hate hearing that about your son because I got a son.
It was hurtful. I could have killed him. And well, my father said something deep, because I'm the type of person, I don't like going to foul stuff because I want to win. I want a sure thing. But I always listen to my father. And my father said something real key to me. He said, even though nothing will be done, he said they're going to put it in their records. And he said it gets to them when they have a blemish in their records. And then when there's a possibility to get another position, and it doesn't even have to be a cop, another position, white people are so competitive and treacherous just amongst themselves. They'll say, oh, officer so-and-so, you got one strike against you in your record. We can't consider you for this position. And I say, you know what, I never thought of it like that. But you gotta do something. But the main part is the anger that I had in me. It was just, I really could have killed them right with my bare hands. I really could have.
Yeah.
And Royal Queen, who sided with Trump as far as this Blue Lives Matter free reign pass? The Coon Boule caucus, the very Coon Boule caucus who sided with Trump and gave police all this free reign power to go after us. So to this bastard Keith Ellison and the rest of the Coon Boule caucus, shame on you, you damn turncoats. To hell with all of you.
Queen, did you hear that they now got laws in place for resisting arrest?
They got what now? Say that again.
They said they now have passed bills for resisting arrest. See, they're making these cops to the point where they're untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
They can't.
Yeah, and it was all through this Blue Lives Matter bill.
Yeah. What they did was they passed a bill that now says if you resist arrest, you automatically get 10 years.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
they steadily penciling in the law. Steadily.
Yeah.
Steadily. And I could be off basis. They so gleeful and about what we know their intentions. We will see that in public they're gonna see less and less Black folks out. And I always call it the butt factor. We're gonna start coming together. We're gonna start, like a lot of families would have their big Sunday dinners. We just gonna start coming to ourselves. So yeah, that's bad what they're doing. It's like, okay, I see what time it is.
Also supporting Black-owned businesses.
I'll limit my movements a little bit more. Not saying you're supposed to be a hermit, but that's the blessing that I see in this, where we're coming together more. And I didn't got to the point, I'm not going to wait for an incident to happen at a store. I'm just limiting even my shopping. I'm doing different things differently because it's such a turnoff where you're not welcome anywhere. You just might just be just trying to go get a little bit of groceries, and you got to deal with these people. Yeah. So I can see us coming together just by them doubling down on these laws and stuff, because they're gonna look up one day, and when them holidays come, oh, our stores is kind of light and empty in here. We have to fight back some kind of way.
Yeah.
And there are ways of doing it, and the main one is when it comes to money. That's their god.
Mm-hmm.
That's their god, and we really need to get on board on that, because we don't even realize that it could be a 90 days. Say none of us throughout the United States barely bought anything for 90 days. It would be felt through the United States. That's how much they need our dollars.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We just don't realize our power,
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was disgusting. My heart goes out to this 20-year-old. You don't walk in a store and expect anything like this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And again, a young woman, never been in trouble with the law, don't have any track record of stealing, but this is what happened to her.
Wow. Oh, baby.
Yeah. I hope she, gets what she wants out of the case.
Mm-hmm. The psychological damage is the biggest. Wow.
It is that you can't go back, and there's no redos.
Mm-hmm.
Once the damage is there, that's going to be with her for the rest of her life.
They did a 5-year-old like that. Do you remember that a few years ago, Lisa? This little 5-year-old black girl just went off at school,
mm-hmm.
and they called the cops on her. They handcuffed her, and her mother was up there. They threw her mother in the car and threatened her. If she intervened, they was going to arrest her. And I said, a 5-year-old? You can't handle a 5-year-old? We some of these things they doing, more and more of us is pulling these babies out of school. I'm even astounded. A lot of my subs homeschool their children.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them. I'm astounded.
Mm-hmm. A lot of Black people are now, a lot, but there's still too many that got their kids in there.
Yeah, it is.
You should know anything your enemy gives you, including an education, is not going to be any good for us.
True.
But Lisa, I gotta say this in all due fairness. To that bastard that did that, if I was a judge, I'm throwing the book at his traitorous Negro peeing ass. No excuse for that whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he was really the one that got the whole thing started.
Yeah, for some damn brownie points, and those type of guards, they pay their ass minimum wage, and you just going overboard on some mess like that. I had I want to bring back to something that you were saying about us women going places by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I just about go everywhere with my husband, and there's been a number of incidents that we didn't have to deal with, and just my husband's energy. Sometimes just his energy make people back off.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I do, I don't get in his way. When he want to tear off into somebody's ass, if they disrespected me or him, this is something I'm telling y'all ladies, don't step in your man's way. Let him defend your honor.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't.
Don't be all embarrassed. I didn't hear black women be all embarrassed and apologize. Oh, he normally doesn't act like that or anything like that. I'm gonna keep my damn mouth shut, and we need to do that.
Not only would I give that woman millions and millions of dollars, but I'm throwing that bastard right in jail. He should have never done that. He should have stayed on code, did his investigation, and not done that at all.
All he had to do was pull her aside and just take a look at the surveillance.
Mm-hmm. And that's lack common sense.
That's really all he had to do. All of that, they record in those stores all the time. And he would have clearly seen she didn't take nothing from that store.
And now he lost his job because
he lost his job.
And you know what, J-Dog? I don't feel shit. He should be behind bars, you bastard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They don't think nothing of accusing us of things. You notice that? They don't think nothing of it. It doesn't matter if it's a man, woman, or child. They think nothing of accusing us of stealing. And time again, these stories always pan out where that black person they accused didn't take nothing.
Mm-hmm. That's true. You're absolutely right.
Which is why my safe haven is a website. Fuck these stores. They don't want my ass there. Fuck your stores. I hope the son of a bitch burns down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
I'm starting to boycott a lot of places too. I think this story may have just added a few more.
Yeah, fuck them,
yes,
J Dog.
Shop online.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want us around. Fuck them.
You got to realize, systematically in this country, we have pretty much became a group of separatists, and being separate is not doing it. So as long as they continue to do what they do, we're gonna keep coming together out of sheer survival. You know, it's like some of the things that Trump is doing. I'm like, damn, that's benefiting us. Lisa keeps saying they're gonna come down hard on these dope dealers and all this. Well, who out there getting tore up? They keep talking about this opioid crisis throughout the United States.
Yeah.
And they ain't just using opiates. When they run out of that, they going to get crack, heroin. You know, you'll see little preppy kids like over here in West Oakland. They so stupid. They come driving up in they nice cars and stuff to get dope, and they stand out like a sore thumb. I done seen a bunch of them get arrested. It'd be funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they'll come straight to the hood for them drugs, and they'll take a risk and everything. And the thing that's so disingenuous with this country, like they talk about how bad Oakland is.
Mm-hmm.
In California alone, Berkeley, California is saturated with drugs, and that's where all them damn white folks live.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what, you know what, that's what a lot of people are complaining in the areas that are gentrified, because see, the white folks that are moving in to the black neighborhoods, they said they are bringing all them drugs in too.
Mm-hmm. It sure is.
Yeah.
And Royal Queen, I could say the same thing about this suburb called Royal Oak. It's the same damn problem. They say that Detroit's all fucked up, but yet Royal Oak is one of those cities that are riddled with bullshit, like, you know, drugs and opiate users and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, this next story tore my ass up. This 10-year-old little boy, his name is Michael Thomas Jr., was playing in front of his grandmother's house, and the cops came up and handcuffed him. He got so scared, he wet on himself.
My goodness.
And the cop had the nerve to complain about him wetting himself. This child was scared. He was scared because he knows what happens to black males when cops come and approach them and handcuff. This kid knows what happens to black men. But he was so petrified. This is the excuse the cops gave. It was a mistaken identity. And it gets even worse. It gets even worse, y'all. The police chief said the cops didn't do nothing wrong. This Negro is the police chief of Chicago. This is where it happened. He said
I've seen him before.
Did nothing wrong. This coon said those officers that scared that boy to the point where he peed himself did nothing wrong.
Wow.
Well, the parents need to start suing him and the officers.
First of all, these officers have no business putting their hands on a minor. He was in front of his grandmother's house playing. Why not knock on the door and talk to a damn adult?
Wow. They're afraid of the adult.
Common sense just leave these people. I'm just appalled at this man talking about what the cops did. He's oh my God, I'm too through with these black police chiefs.
But Lisa, this is the same group of men that the Kumbule caucus now want to protect all of a sudden. It doesn't matter how many Negro-peeing cops get their butter biscuits and Scooby snacks. They're going to do what they want to do anyway because the Kumbule caucus pretty much gave them a pass. The same black people who sold us out time and time again, they're now protecting each other. You did see the thing with all these Negro pens, they're protecting other Negro pens, including this Sambo ass cop.
Yeah.
Can I have a say to this?
Yeah, go ahead, J-Dog.
Do you notice that they're not going after a lot of gangbangers? These cops are not going after
They go after soft targets.
Yeah, because I bet you if you heard, there was a story a long time ago where this cop went after a gangbanger, and it was a white cop, and it was a commander. The black guy actually did have a gun and killed the cop.
J-Dog, without crime, their busted asses wouldn't exist. There's a reason they keep crime going, so they can stay empowered with their militarization of the police.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, what do you think, Queen?
It's you know how y'all know I'll break down because I can't do too many videos about our royal babies. That's just
Yeah.
And who gave free reign to the royal babies? This Blue Lives Matters bill. Thank the Kule Caucus for doing that.
You know, I always say that.
I'm saying this is a child. He's practically still a baby. And why not knock on the door and talk to the adults? If you thought this child did anything wrong, his grandmother said he was right there with her all day long. And he just went outside to play in front of the house. And these cops didn't say anything. They just came up, grabbed him, threw him in handcuffs, and then he just peed because he was petrified. And that's how, they didn't even try to talk to him and ask him questions. They just grabbed on this little boy and threw him in handcuffs.
And they know what they're doing when they do that. I was watching Cops when they used to play that show, and this little snot-nosed little white boy stole some stuff out of the store and got caught. And the only thing they did was he was went into that crying mode because the white males will cry too, and said he wouldn't do it no more and all this type of stuff. And then the police just reprimanded him. They commercial come, next video I go to, this little boy had to be no more than about 6 or 7. He stole somebody's bike literally next door. And his dumb mama called the cops. She said he always stealing, to teach him a lesson. And so the cop came and he winking and put handcuffs on the little boy, put him in the car, and drove him around to teach him a lesson. You don't do that. You don't call no cops on your children.
Our kids don't need no damn lesson from
She don't know what the hell she doing. Whoop his little ass.
Yeah.
Oh, but what if the cops committed murder on her son? She'll be begging and crying, say, "Oh, they killed my baby! They killed my baby!" But your dumbass let him ride around the car with a slave catcher.
That has happened.
That pissed me off that she would even go along with it. It's like that video I did where the little boy was drug off the bus. I still can't find a follow-up on that. And she couldn't even barely speak. He told that little boy told his mama what happened, and she even had to take him to the hospital. And it took somebody to show her a videotape of what happened. And the other thing, one of my subs pointed it out, while he was being drug off the bus. On those buses they have a monitor on there to keep the kids in control. You can clearly hear a black woman telling someone of them kids, cut that camera off. Cut that camera off.
Yeah.
And it was a black woman. And I couldn't get, you know what? I don't know if you ever did. Did you homeschool your son all the way?
Yes.
Okay.
No, not all the way.
Well, you know what? This is something that I learned from carrying on from my mother. My mother always told me this. She said, if you get in trouble at school, you're not necessarily in trouble at home. She said, just tell me the truth. You're not going to get in trouble. And my mother always kept her word. I would tell what I did and everything else like that. And I did that also with my children, because they had a couple of little incidents at school and they were so damn minor. And I would be just sitting there talking to the white folks like, yeah, whatever. And I mean, they would be gleeful about what they, thinking, oh yeah, when he or she get home, this gonna happen. I said, this ain't nothing but some bullshit. I had a school, my oldest daughter is, she's a person that not very talkative. And when she was in junior high, one of her teachers had a nerve to wanted to talk to me because she said she felt threatened by my daughter's presence. My daughter was in the 7th grade at that time. I almost said, bitch, you called me up here for this shit?
White teacher.
White teacher.
I am so sick of paranoid white females, man. I am sick of their asses.
Now I asked her, I said, well, what was she saying? Oh no, she's very, very quiet. And I just looked dead in her eyes, but she feel threatened. I just kept looking at her. And then she finally got it. I walked off.
One time.
But you know what the royal queen, the man that was standing next to that docile black woman, he's not gonna sue the school because you know what? He has the docile attitude of not giving a shit about his own son getting dragged off.
You know what?
But you know what? Sometimes you got to take control of those kind of situations. Now, one time, my son was in detention, and this is what did it for me, and I got him out of there. He was in detention. The teacher said, this was a white teacher. I was teaching and he kept tapping his pencil.
Lord.
And I said, so you gave him detention for that. Now, mind you, he was in the 3rd grade. You know how kids fidget around in their
3rd grade.
They do that. And personally, True Royal, I believe when they're that little, you need to do type of school lessons that make them active.
Yes.
Number one, they will learn. It will be enjoyable, but it's hard for these kids to sit still at that age.
It is.
You know what I did? It was winter time. I walked over to the closet, got my son's coat, and I said, you ain't in detention anymore. And I took him out.
And
I ended that detention real fast.
I had an incident when my son, he was in junior high, still in junior high, and this school was pretty much predominantly white, and my son's coat was stolen. And he went to the office. The white folks didn't want to hear nothing he had to say, and he was the only one with this coat. I knew it because I knew where I got it from. And so they was acting dumb, and so me and my husband took off of work, and my husband, he tickles me. He went in there with some dark shades. He had on one of them tank shirts, what they call them, wife beaters or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, we Bonnie and Clyde. He just crossed his arms and he got them shades on. And when we walked in there, this was so funny. I asked to speak to the principal. I didn't want to speak to no flunkies. And they went to the back of the in the back. Next thing that I know, they coming out with a coat. They knew what time it was. That's the same school that they wanted my son and the few black kids that they had in front of the entire school to play like they were slaves, and the white kids were slave masters. I kid you not. I could not believe what I was reading. I could not believe it. And stuff. I hate now that I had him in that school, because another incident happened. He had to go on detention, and what they would do with these kids is they made them pick up trash. And me being a construction worker, I have always been trained to wear gloves. And my son ran into a couple of hypodermic needles. These white folks, and I'm telling you, we're living in a white town, you're going to see hypodermic needles everywhere. And he would not pick it up. First, he was demanding a glove. Okay, they finally found a glove, but he still wouldn't pick it up. and he said the vice principal was hollering at him and everything. So I went up there. Husband came with me again, and he proceeded to try to explain to me what was going on. And I just basically told him, I don't want to hear what you have. I don't want to hear what you have to say. I said, I want you to talk to me the way that you talk to my son. That's all I want to hear from you. He couldn't even get it out of his mouth. These people play too much.
Yeah. And you know what I don't like? I don't like a white woman that has no connection with Black children having control over them. That disturbs me. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Well, Royal Queen, when I was about 12 or 13, you would have loved my ass, because every white teacher I went up against, Cave Becky, I nutted up on their ass. I nutted up on them. And this was right around the time where I actually was in California for a year and a half, you know, when I was living with my auntie. Well, these two Cave Becky teachers, I nutted up on their ass, and I did not care.
I feel you.
They hated my guts.
Yeah, but I am so sick of these Black chiefs of police. Every time I see one, I cringe now.
Well, you know what? You know how that damn chief of police act with that situation with at Starbucks. He doubled down. His the cops did nothing wrong. He was going on and on and on. Then a couple of days later, they got in his ass and he had a new talk. He was talking different. And you should see how he walked. He walked like one of these old. He leaned back when he walked, his arms slinging, and like he's the shits. He ain't running nothing. He ain't nothing. He's just a token.
Yeah, that one in Philly. Yeah, he is a straight up coon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yes, definitely.
Oh.
See, even when I was a class clown, I was somewhat on code because I was in front of a Cave Becky teacher. I loved every moment of it.
Yeah. They're really not all that smart either. I remember I had to tell my Cave Becky teacher a few things that she didn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this one is disgusting, but it drives home why so many of our young men are targeted. Now, this is a study they did on private prison contracts. Now, listen to this. Let me see if I can zoom in on this one a bit.
Hey, I just want to say on Black Spot TV, I just uploaded a video on my Black Spot TV account of people fighting back against the cops. I'm also uploaded a YouTube video alerting people to go to that website to look up the video, because if I put it on YouTube, they're gonna try to flag it.
Yeah. I think the tables are going to turn on these cops eventually too.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're doing too much to make them untouchable. And
they need to slow down. They seem like they done stepped it up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you know what, True Royal, if they got rid of all of these white cops, I promise you crime would be down to almost zero in this country.
You remember that happened in New York? They thought they
happened in Camden, New Jersey too.
Yeah, they thought they was going to teach people a lesson, having less cops and no crime. None. We know how to police ourselves. And I only seen it, and I was a child. I only seen it just for a little bit. I was about 7 years old, still living in San Francisco, and it was the Black Panthers, the Nation of Islam, and them drug dealers and pimps and all of that. Mm-hmm. And they told them, this is your side of town. We want to make sure that these babies and these women and old folks can go do what they got to do. And they was going to enforce it basically like a gentleman's agreement. If y'all want to go sell drugs and all that stuff, you can't be in this particular territory. And they would whoop and they would whoop they behinds if they caught them in a certain territory. Didn't have no problem. So it's like this is your red light district. That's the word. And everything ran fine.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. But that was too good for them. They infiltrated that. started planting drugs, people getting high, the community started breaking down, no jobs. And then y'all would be astounded how, like if y'all ever heard of the Fillmore district, how many black businesses, I can even remember well, that they had. They took all of that.
Would not be so. Well, here is, I'm going to show you actually a series of articles on the same topic. Now, here's the reason why they keep grabbing up black men. They don't care if they're innocent or not. It's because these states make contracts with private prisons, that get all that corporate work done. And they promise to keep the prisons at a certain capacity at all times. So in this article, which is based on a study from 2013, it says they guarantee beds at 65% of more than 60 private prison contracts it analyzed, including a contract from Texas, Ohio, Colorado, and Florida. The bed guarantees or lockup quota. Now, do you know why they're grabbing so many black guys? They got a lockup quota in states that have private prisons. Range from 70% minimum occupancy in one California facility to 100% occupancy at 3 Arizona prisons. The most common bed guarantee was 90%. So when they do contracts, Walmart, Victoria's Secret, Starbucks, all the ones that get in prison work done, they get a guarantee in the contract that they will keep the prisons at a certain capacity at all times. So as prisoners are released, they got to go out on the street and do some slave catching to get our men in there so they can continue to meet that quota.
You know what?
We're not doing anything wrong. So
you know what this makes me think of, Lisa? I read an article that down south, what they were doing down there, they still had those, what they call them they really slave camps. And they would certain times of the season, like if some white folks had to get their crops harvested and all that, and they would warn, and black folks was warning each other, hey, this time of season they snatching men and women and putting them in them prison camps, and how they had to do their time was pick cotton or whatever they had to do, and they would keep them for that season, and then they would let them go. And it was one company, they made bricks, and they would arrest a bunch of black guys and keep them there for years, and they got there making bricks. And they was even saying this company, they bricks is all over town. Some of them brick houses are still up and everything. And I was astounded that I wasn't shocked, but I was astounded that there was a certain season where they would arrest men and women. And I remember one of the brothers that was in the Black Panthers, his name was Eddie Griffin, when he was 19 years old down south. Now this is in like the late 60s. He got arrested and they put him in one of them slave camps, and he ended up escaping and making it to California and never came back. So they was even doing it down. Now they still doing it, but now it's like a unquote cleanup version of it, but it's still the same damn thing.
Yeah. And they are really cruel. I'm finding out how the cruelty level on these men that are in these private prisons is beyond belief. And women too. I had read, this must have been last summer, I had read a story on this prison camp, and they had women doing this, just picking fruits and vegetables and stuff at a farm. Well, this one black inmate, female, something happened and she was not able to get her pants on. Do you know they made her go out and do the work in
Wow.
the farm with no pants?
Lord have mercy. Mm-mm-mm.
I forgot what happened to her clothing, but they were so nasty. They couldn't get her another pair of pants. Instead of that, they made her go out with no pants on in the farm and work.
Ooh, these people are disgusting.
They are so nasty.
Mm-hmm.
So nasty. So private prisons in US turn a profit, ruin Black lives because they are putting so many people that they are literally snatching from the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Don't care if they did a crime or not, because the state is trying to make their quota.
Yep. Not
It's
shocked.
disgusting.
Attention, Negro peers. Attention, Negro peers. You still want to be around these people? You still want to hug around them and kiss them and say there's no racism? You want to sit there and say racism don't exist? Well, here it is. Lisa's presenting the evidence right here. Your black ass is still getting locked up at high rates, but you're sitting there hugging the enemy? You better wake up soon, or this could be you.
True.
Hey, Tareen.
Hey, Terrain, come on in.
Yeah, I'm
Come
going to
on
put the
in
link
the chat.
for him. Tareen, here, I'm going to put the link there. Come on into the chat.
We would like for you to show up.
I had to pull up my satire there for a bit.
You know, I'm too through. When I look at stuff like this, I am too freaking through. I really am.
Mm-hmm.
But look at this. Now you think it's bad enough that the inmates are either working for free or getting 12 cents an hour, right? Now they're saying that there are so many fights. It is very violent in private prisons. They said the fights are violent. There's a lot of suicides going on in private prisons because the conditions are bad. These inmates get treated very poorly. And on top of that, they said the pay for the guards are poor. And because the pay for the guards are poor, it's a high turnover rate for the prison guard.
Well, I heard something. I think I was watching one of Tariq Nasheed's videos. He said that he heard a story that some of these prisons have had revolts happening where guards have even been attacked now lately.
I
Oh, wait a
think
minute.
that's going to happen. I think it's going to get to the point because the conditions in private prison, because they don't care what conditions you live in. Their goal is to get you to do the work. And I really believe it is going to be a big revolt in these private prisons sooner or later.
You know,
But wait a minute, J-Dog. According to Miss Psychology, we're just supposed to stand up and fight them. Fight them without the gun. Fight them without the knife. You know what I mean?
You talk about Cynthia G?
Miss Psychology, yeah, we're supposed to stand up and fight them. Oh, without the gun, without the knife. We can sit there and be on our best behavior. They're snatching us up anyway.
Yes.
Yes, they are. That is absolutely right.
But you can, I'm just, that's why I would like showing these, because I want our people to understand you are not always doing things wrong.
Mm-hmm.
These freaking cops are literally on the hunt for Black males and women, mainly our men, to put you in these fucking hellholes to get this corporation work done. They don't care nothing about you being innocent.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care. They just need the bodies in there to do this work.
That's true. I watched a documentary, Lisa, a few years ago, and as the economy started getting really bad, and it was even affecting these white folks too as well, and people were losing homes left and right, in these little rural towns, they were saying that they were afraid to have any type of prison even near their towns, even like an hour away. And finally, these little small rural towns started caving in, and they wanted the prisons there. So these people were on the like poor white trash, living in trailers, those type of people. And they started welcoming these private prisons like you're talking about. And in one of those little towns, I don't remember where it was, it didn't work out, and they had went all through the prison. It was just empty, and the people in that town was angry because they had voted for the prison to be built there, and they was just rubbing their palms together because they knew they was gonna make money, because it's not just being a guard. Also they could supply food there, and all that type of stuff, and they could make a lot of money. And so it's some of it is backfiring on them too. Not all of them are is being successful with it. And I said, that's what they ass get. They got a big ass prison that's empty, and that little rural town lost so much money behind it. They wanted to sue the guy that came in, to convince them that, it's going to be at a certain capacity that you were talking about. I said, the divine hand is at work again and stuff. So they not, what I keep wanting to point out is, I keep saying the war is won, but we're going to be seeing battles that they win, but the overall spectrum of it, they ain't winning. They got way more to lose, because they want to hold on to these tangible things. And they, it's actually like they got the weight of the world on their shoulders. And there is side effects, even though we're feeling horrible stuff too. There is side effects on them too as well, in this damn, I call it cesspool, unquote, shithole. This is a shithole.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, but according to Miss Psychology, I'm supposed to sit here and ignore the last days. I'm supposed to sit here and ignore the scriptures saying that these are the last days. Critical times are hard to deal with, and unfortunately, our people are a part of it. Unfortunately, but I'm supposed to ignore that according to Miss Psychology, right?
Yeah. How you doing, Tareen?
I think he's on mute.
I'm sorry, I'm doing good. I'm just listening right now because I was actually eating. I just started eating when you let me come in.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm just listening right now.
All right. Now, one of the private prison corporations has actually been sued because they have been understaffed, and there's a lot of very violent fights going on. Those fights, from what I understand, and they got these guys stacked on top of each other. Of course, there's going to be fights, and the fights can get deadly. And of course, they got gangs. It's the typical prison environment. And many of these private prisons are understaffed. So when these fights break out, there is no one to break them up. So, Corrections Corporation of America, they have been liable for the brutal attacks of 8 prisoners and gang activity, and they did not have the staff provided to even deal with this situation. And again, it goes back to them just poorly paying the prison guards. So I'm not surprised. Trump said he was going to allow this. And you see the end result. The bottom line is it's always going to be our people paying the biggest price in this whole thing.
And then I'm also point out that, we always feel the brunt of it, but then these folks is so paranoid, they vote against their own interests. I seen a documentary where this white couple voted against their interests. This man was in his late 60s, and they had lost a lot, and so he had to get back in his truck and start driving long distance. And basically, him and his wife was living in that truck to make sure they could pay their bills and stuff. So he was saying the guy was worried because he was like, "I'm not in the best health. My wife not in the best. We don't have any benefits." And he said he gonna keep driving the truck till he drop dead. So that's what they ass get. Vote. They so worried about we gonna get a half a penny that they willing to vote against their interests, and then even their great grandchildren to feel the ripple effects. There's still another side effect to their shit.
Right.
But they want to come after black folks. They want to worry about what black folks is doing, but not worry about what their own community is doing. Did y'all hear? There was something I wanted to talk about. You remember the story of Brock Turner, right?
Yes.
First of all, why don't they throw him in the prisons? You know, actual people who actually do crimes, throw them in the prisons.
Because the whole system is designed to keep the white male out of jail, as much as possible, but to throw the book at us.
Well, guess what? That system that protects white people is now backfiring on the judge that let him just basically walk. He's now been recalled by the citizen for making such a idiotic sentence.
About the rape that happened up here in the Bay Area. Is that the same person you talking about?
Brock Turner. He was accused of raping a drunk woman behind a dumpster, and
knocked out, and he raped her.
They said it was so bad that these two guys found him back behind a dumpster raping her, and she was caked with dirt and leaves and stuff, and they said he was brutally raping her, and it disturbed these young men. One of them threw up all over himself and everything, and then his damn father had the nerve to say, something about my son's life is going to be affected for
20 minutes of pleasure.
Yeah. I'm like, damn.
He'll do it again. He'll do it again.
Yeah, I didn't know that rape was supposed to be pleasurable. That says a lot about his dad.
Right.
Right. Exactly. And then his sorry mama sits up there. Oh, he's not eating the way he used to eat. He's changed so much. I said, these people are pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
They are pathetic. Listen,
you know what that is, right? That's them being on code. They know what they did was wrong, but they still going to back them up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you want me to talk about?
They had a case years ago about this very wealthy white boy. His family was very wealthy, and he was known for raping. He even started in high school with this stuff. So it started stacking up against him, and they sent him to another country, and he stayed. I think he was gone a good 10 years or so, and his family just played dumb, like he didn't know where he was and all this stuff. And I don't know the circumstances of him coming back. I don't know if they caught up with him, and what they ended up doing was unquote giving him a slap on the wrist, but if he violated his probation, certain things was going to happen. So he's driving in his car, reckless, real fast, one of these like $100,000 vehicles. It flipped over to the side. He was so worried about the cops catching him, he left his girlfriend dangling in there. And they were like, what happened to the driver? He wanted to act like he wasn't a part of it. I said, that is a rotten ass, what they call it, influenza. That the reason why that kid ended up killing them people.
Poor people, intoxicated, underage.
Family, we have to remember one thing that Lisa has pointed out through the scriptures. We're going through something called Jacob's triumph. The fact that we're being targeted as the real humans because they don't want us real humans taking over the planet. That's why we're facing all this persecution.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be hard for them to keep themselves alive with all the death and destruction going on. And plus, they can't even reproduce.
Oh, yeah. You want me to say something? Right when I was trying to get a security job, right when the dude, black man, old black man, I think he was like in his 50s, was in the security. It's gonna be in a hole on code, as Tareen would say. As soon as he told me to go to the security school for like a week or two, he said one thing to be looking out for is like white people trying to find some BS excuse to take you out of the security job. I'm like, not surprised.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
not surprised.
Whoo, these devils, they don't let up, do they?
It's their nature. It's just I keep saying it's
Well, look.
I keep going back
Like
to
even in slavery, like even in slavery, like when they freed the slaves, guess what they didn't do? They didn't let them have the guns. Why you think they didn't let them have the guns? So they won't fight. You think me, the slave master, I want to let you have the guns so you can rebel, so you can fight back, so you can get your retribution? Heck no, I'm not gonna do that.
That's the truth. You're right about that.
Oh boy.
Well, as I heard, a lot of black people are now starting to get guns.
Yeah, I know. Actually, it was big stories that came out about 2 years ago about a major increase among black women arming themselves.
Yeah, I heard about that too as well. Yes, I did.
I mean, it's getting to the point where we got to do what we have to do.
Yeah, we're on our own. We really is. We're going to defend ourselves, and this is definitely going to bring a lot of us back together. It's naturally going to happen. They're going to continue to do. I keep saying they're going to they're doing everything right in this war. As disgusting as it is. And we got to start doing what we got to do, and the divine hand is right there. But it's like I can clearly just see this. I can't do this alone. None of us can. We all need each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this story I actually did a video on a little earlier in the week. Republican appointed judges. These are Republican presidents that appoint people for the federal bench, tend to give black defendants longer sentences. But it gets interesting. The black judges that are sitting on the federal bench, they said they tend to be very balanced between giving sentences to black and white people. There's no big distinction. The biggest one is with the white Republican judge.
No surprise there.
I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised.
Remember what happened with Judge Olu Stevens? Remember when he said he wanted that black client to have a fair trial, and he just
tried to bring in a white jury. Yeah.
And then he ended up getting a fair trial because he ended up being found not guilty of whatever he was being accused of. They didn't like that. So they ended up suspending him without pay for 3 months.
Yeah,
so that means
I remember that.
So that means for 3 months he didn't have any income. Luckily for him, he was a judge for a while, so he still had income to carry him over while he was on that 3 month suspension.
I remember the case of Philando Castile. A black judge was actually originally supposed to be in that case, and they quietly removed him and replaced him with another judge. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. They will do anything to make sure we are incarcerated. They can't give up
Like you
the
said,
white
the
jury. You see, number one, I disagree that white juries are peers to black people. Because they have white supremacy, to me, that nullifies them from being any peers to us. Number two, they have to keep the juries all white. That's the only way they can ensure that black people go to jail in the highest numbers. They don't want the jury to be balanced. And we have seen this time and time again. Even cases that are in black neighborhoods, they will still pull that all-white jury bullshit. It doesn't matter.
But see, Lisa, this just goes to show you that they need all of these systems, all of these mechanisms in place to defeat us. That still goes to show everybody that we're still superior, even by a small amount. They're just showing the entire universe how inferior they really are.
Yeah, they are.
As you said, the prison system is a part of the stock market, which I'm kind of getting into, doing stocks and stuff. But the fact that you said that is disturbing.
But DCD, they need all those private prison systems to take us out. That's weakness.
It is.
Yeah. And so I'm now, and I'm not surprised. Prisons are really, most of them are deplorable, and they're poorly ran, and they don't care that they're stacking us in there. Just get that corporation work done. They don't care. They don't care. And many people die in those prisons. This whole system is sick.
Yes, rotten, very rotten to the core. And ever since, if we know about this, ever since the unquote slavery was over with, then they went straight into sharecropping, and since then they have had to consistently come up with all these different laws. And what do they call that? The white man's burden.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, as a result of what they had did to us, they are really in a great deal of stress because they put it on themselves. I mean, these are some very paranoid people, and I don't take them light at all. They are very dangerous.
Being this paranoid.
They're dangerous. I'm not saying to be afraid, but even when I go out to the store, like I said, I don't pretty much go nowhere by myself. I be watching them, and I do online shopping. But these people have outbursts. I've been watching them. Some of them feel very emboldened since Trump is in office. I heard a brother say, "Don't let Donald Trump get your ass kicked." And some white guy drives through a black neighborhood calling him nigger, and he couldn't get he didn't drive off fast enough. Damn near the whole neighborhood beat his tail.
There was they had some kind of rally a couple of years ago, and some white guys decided to go in the hood with a Confederate flag. Those black people tore not only them up, but tore the hell up out of the truck. Mm-hmm. And the white guy that was leaning out the window with the flag had the nerve to say he was going to sue. I was like, honey, you came looking for trouble and you found it. Those black people they were throwing bottles at them. They said they threw so many bottles at the truck. The truck had dents all over it.
Going into the hood.
They thought they were going to drive through the damn hood with a Confederate flag and nothing was going to happen.
You know why they do that? Because they still operate off of the old way of thinking. That's why they continue to do the things that they do. They think that they are still in that Jim Crow mindset. I'm telling you, that Jim Crow mindset has not deteriorated. It has it's gone on. It's been passed down by generation. And the more times it gets passed down, the more for them it starts to fade as they start to realize that we're too flat back.
You know what I said, Terrain? I said, good for every single one of those bastards that got their ass kicked. I'm glad. I am happy that every one of those damn KBs got what's coming to them. I am happy.
And you know what? I don't blame them for being this paranoid. After all the lynching, after all the burning down of properties, after all the stealings of the invention, after all, if I was now, I'll be hella paranoid.
I don't know if y'all saw this video. It actually went kind of viral, and this is typical of white men in particular. So this white guy, I don't know where he's from, but let's just say for the sake of argument, he's from the States.
Oh,
he went over to Thailand, and he, I guess, to do a tour or something like that, and he thought it would be okay that he could go over there and grope one of the women from that country.
I saw that video.
Man, when I tell you, it was one woman and then two other women came out of nowhere and formed up like Voltron and kicked his ass.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that video.
And it was like they had him all under the table. And they was like, nah, you ain't going under the table. We're gonna pull you back out and continue whooping.
You know what? I have to really admit this because I didn't know this about white men, that this is the thing that they do, pinching, groping, touching. And one of my girlfriends married a white guy for a short time.
Oh, we all know where that goes.
And her family told her in front of her husband and her brother-in-law, because he was living with them, and they told them that y'all need to keep y'all fucking hands to yourself. Don't be touching our asses, pinching, trying to and white men like to grab each other's penises. I seen that at work.
No surprise.
They do that a lot on the job too.
Yeah, they sure do. And her family was, letting them know, this ain't cool. And her husband had the nerve to say, "Oh, what's the big deal? We do that all the time in our family. We do it with our mom, everything."
Yeah, they normalize perversion.
Yeah, I didn't know how big it was on the scale until a lot of these white guys, especially with what Trump had said, that's how they deal with each other. And it's still like when I did the video, because I knew that it was not easy to do this video, to do the research. Remember, I put a video on Black Junction about it's a little cartoon in the front picture that I put up, and it's a caveman dragging a woman by her head, and he got a big old club. Mm-hmm. And I said, I wonder, is there any truth in that? And I had to really research for like 2 days, and I had to kind of piece it together. And it is true. Then when they was in them damn caves, when they felt the need to have sex, they would knock her up in the head, do what they got to do, and he would just leave her there. Just have sex with him anywhere. Yeah. So, but they shamed of that. They call themselves doing the cleanup version, but we done heard just about everything.
Yeah. And it doesn't surprise me either, because you hear so many stories about the stuff that goes on in them locker rooms.
Mm-hmm.
That you don't even have to imagine. And I hate to even bring this story back up, but do y'all remember what happened in, what state was that? Iowa? Idaho? One of them I-leaded states where those white boys had tortured that boy with that wire hanger.
Yeah. I remember that.
Oh yeah,
That was disturbing. That was very disturbing to hear about.
Yeah.
They got a slap on. It was a slap on. It wasn't even a slap on the wrist.
They didn't give any time, I thought.
They didn't.
Yeah.
They just gave him some money, but he's psychologically damaged for that.
He was already mentally ill.
Yeah.
He already had a disability.
Yeah.
I just want to make a response to what Torrin Ray talking about them needing Jim Crow. The reason they need it, because we're the superior ones. They need that for their so-called superiority, because they know they can't beat us face to face or even toe to toe for that matter.
But you know what? You're right. You're right, because you know what? Recently, the Mexicans left a farm. I forgot what state this was. This was recent. And after they left, the white people could not do all of the farm work, and they ended up losing the entire crop.
Wonderful.
Now, remember, they claim they are the superior ones. How come they didn't get out there and save the crops after the Mexicans left?
I heard somebody say, Lisa, since they claim that they build those pyramids and stuff, I was reading somewhere. This brother said, "Well, y'all need to go back. Y'all need to go back over there and build some more of them."
Well, here's what I gotta say is what KD said. KD said is the reason why they have all this stuff is because we have been proven to be superior. When they have to take on us one-on-one, they end up having at more risk of losing.
Mm-hmm.
Because J-Dog, they know deep down we're gonna kick their asses every single damn time.
Did you know what happened at the fight that was on the ESPN app between Terrence Crawford and Jeff Horn? Well, that's proof of that right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, I could say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, like I was talking with one man, like a brother. He's like older than me, and I was shocked. Like he talked about the reason why we had Black Wall Street. Like part of the reason why we had Black Wall Street, where everybody was becoming millionaire, it's because we was the first to come up with the lottery in the 1920s. I'm like, what the?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I
Oh, yeah.
was
With the lottery.
hard.
A lot of stuff came from us. In fact, many of these white people today can't even duplicate Black Wall Street. Do you know that a dollar bounced 100 times before it left the neighborhood? And to this day, the Jews have not been able to duplicate that. These Asians, the Arabs, all of them, none of them have been able to duplicate that to this day.
Mm-hmm.
No, but the fact about the lottery, though.
Yeah, the
fact
lottery
about the
part, they used to call it the numbers.
The numbers, yeah.
Yeah, the numbers.
That's what they said.
And it really helped the community, especially in the Depression, because I was reading like $5 would get you damn near 2 weeks of worth of groceries.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa, you could go ahead and compare our Wall Street from the past from their corporations today. None of their corporations will even stand on the foot of what the past Black Wall Street has done.
No.
None of them.
It, like I said, KD, it has never been duplicated again.
Mm-hmm.
That's how well it did. It did so well to this day. These people cannot even figure out how to duplicate it.
And the Moors was the ones that started the banking system where we had bank accounts and everything. They were the one that put that all together.
Yeah, nothing came from these demons.
Mm-mm.
Nothing. They literally sat around and did nothing while everybody else did the work. And you can see that is still the case today.
Yeah, and they jump up and want to take credit for stuff. I would tell y'all, on some jobs I was on, white boys would tear up some stuff. I mean, tear down power lines, wreck stuff, because they like to come to the work high. You have to really watch them real close, and they will steal your tools. I remember I was working on a job, and is the first and only female foreman I had. We're still good friends, named Juanita. And we had a huge concrete pour in the for the sewage system. They had to make it deeper for San Francisco because they couldn't contain that sewage. And so I had got all the material that we needed for that day. And it took me about 3 hours. And when I go back down into the hole, I'm like 50 feet down. I look around, and the other crew, the other crew was told to steal what I had. And the foreman, I'll never forget him, his name was Drew. I said, Drew, I'm about to beat your ass. And he hit that ladder, and he was much faster than me. When I hit, and I was right behind him, and I looked for him, and then I said, his white ass is in the trailer. I went in there, and first thing I see is Juanita. And this white boy was a foreman. I said, I'm going to beat your ass right now, you motherfucker. I said, you've been doing this shit to me for the last 3 weeks. I said, I'm going to beat your ass. I said, when we get off of work in the parking lot, it's going to be me, bitch.
Mm-hmm.
When we got off of work, they told him to go home early. The one thing I love about construction, you don't get fired for stuff like that. I love it.
Mm-hmm. I had an incident when I was in IT. I was a manager, and I had my own office, and I had brought these pictures in that somebody gave to me a long time ago to hang on my wall so they wouldn't look so bare. And they were just different Lamborghinis in different colors, So I put them all on my wall. I came to work one day, all of my pictures were gone.
What?
And I said, I'll find them. I walked around and I found my pictures hanging in this white guy's office.
Wow.
So I took them down and I put a nasty note on his desk. You should have seen the way he looked when he came back to my office. I said, this is my personal property. I brought this from home. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought it belonged to the company.
You're right.
Okay, even if you thought it belonged to the company, why would you just walk in somebody's office and just take the pictures off of their wall?
Mhm.
You see what kind of mentality these people have?
They do have that type of stuff. I worked with a white boy, 25 years old, didn't know shit, made him a foreman. They sent me over there to go work with him for a day. That bastard stole my brand new crescent wrench, and we really are anal about our tools. And so I told my husband what had happened, and my husband said, he said, when you go back to work, when you go back over there, he said, white boys keep their wallets in their lunch pail. He said, go in there and take all his damn money. I went over there, and he was absolutely right. I took every fucking dime he had in his wallet. It had to be about $300. He thought I was so dumb. The following next day, he asked me, Kim, did anybody come on the barge? Because we was working in the ocean. And I said, I didn't see nothing. I looked him dead in his eyes. That he was hollering at me and all kind of shit. And I had already threatened him, but I guess he didn't. He took it as a joke. So it was just my payoff. I'm being honest with y'all. I took all that white boy's fucking money. He stole something from me. I stole something back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was looking at him. I was like, the nerve of this man. How the hell do you just walk in somebody's office and just take shit off of the wall? Who does that?
That's how they get down. That's how they get down. One of my girlfriends, she's passed on. She was she operated those elevators, and it's out of the operators union. They operate the heavy equipment. Her name was Novice, and when you operate these industrial elevators, when lunchtime come, she has to make sure everybody is, at the bottom. Everybody has to come out before she can come out. And white boys really resented her position because she made $40 an hour. And so this white boy gonna kind of push her to the side, and he gonna operate it. And she pushed him back. And I didn't see that. She told me that. So I'm eating lunch and I'm hearing all kind of cuss words and everything. I'm trying to get my big behind up off a bucket because I saw my girl getting ready to go in. When I got over there, it was about 6 white guys sitting on a bench eating. She cussed that white boy out so bad, his partners didn't even, they just looked down. He got a tongue lashing. And you know what it was like? Just about every job I worked on, I had a name for a job. I had one job called Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Cutthroat, No Peace. And I was like, damn, it's like every day you go to the work, it's a war zone.
Mm-hmm.
These people don't know when to stop.
They turn it into one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when the white guy threatened me on a boat one day and said he was going to get me fired, when I finally cornered his ass in the break room and I was choking him and I looked him dead in his eyes, I said, if my babies don't eat, your babies don't eat. And I said, I'm going to tell that you've been sexually harassing me and everything. I had to get ruthless with them. And you know what? And I know some of y'all probably experienced this at work. When they cannot break you because they'll try you, then they label you crazy. And
yeah, they try to destroy your character. Yeah, I've had it. I don't, you know what? I came to the conclusion that these non-functional beings, number one, they can't even do their work without a lot of help. I know whenever I used to work around white women, they could not, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I had to show them how to do easy shit. I'm like, are you freaking crazy? You don't know how to do that? But they seriously don't know how to do nothing. If it wasn't for us being around in this country for centuries, America would definitely be third world. It would definitely be third world without us.
Wow.
These people don't know how to do shit. Efosa, one of my subscribers in the chat, wrote something really interesting that I totally forgot about. He was saying Black inmates are given a choice of sterilization in return for commuted.
No surprise.
They gonna sterilize them?
Yeah, they've been doing that now. If you agree, if the man agrees to get a vasectomy and the woman a hysterectomy, they let you out of prison earlier.
Damn.
So
They can't reproduce. They really don't want us reproducing.
They have no sense of
They
humanity.
just castrate you straight up.
Yeah.
They probably
So
keep the part. They probably keep the parts. The one who agree with it. I'll just stay in jail. I'm not gonna let them take my dignity.
Yeah, I might as well stay in jail and just serve my sentence, whatever. I'm not gonna give up. What if I want children when I get out? If I was in prison, what if I want children?
That's the goal right there. They don't want you to have children.
They don't want you to. They don't want us reproducing. They're trying to find all kinds of ways to keep us from reproducing because they can't do it.
Well, that's the thing. There's too many of us in the entire planet. They would have to find a way to stop the entire planet from reproducing.
Man, they're paranoid. Very paranoid.
So if there's too much of us, we won't be able. Their plan is gonna fail because somehow, despite of all the issues, despite of all the killings and stuff, ain't our population and I think the Hispanics still increasing.
Yeah,
it never stopped. I don't care what kind of conditions we get in, we still keep producing, and that's the part that's scary to them because they're continuing to poison us, doing everything you can think of, and it's like, damn, more of them keep coming, and their fears are finally catching in their subconscious. That's why you see them acting out. I said a long time ago, I said, we're going to see them do stuff we ain't never seen them do before. They just out of nowhere, they can't deal with the reality. They know something is coming. We've been feeling it. What's going on?
Yeah, absolutely.
You literally feel it. And when I think it was one of your videos that you said people were visions and stuff.
Yeah.
And I watched a series of videos 3 weeks ago, and it was a Chinese girl, a brother, and I think it was a white guy, and all three of them had visions of the judgment day, and all three of them were crying uncontrollably. Even this brother said after the vision he had, he went under his kitchen table and just clinged to the chair up under the table for hours. He said the stuff that he's seen was horrible. And then this little Chinese girl, she lived in China, and her mother dictated everything she said, and she was crying uncontrollably. I was like, wow, we can't even imagine when it actually happens. And I keep thinking, when Lisa said the blood would be up to the horse's bridle, I said, wow. I get visions, but I ain't never seen nothing like that at all.
Yeah. It says the Bible prophesies as we get closer to the end, the visions and the dreams are going to become more vivid. It's almost going to feel like they're real when you wake up.
Yeah, because just before you started the live stream, I'm still studying Obadiah, even though it's just literally 2 little pages, and then I have a huge study Bible, and I've just been really studying that, and that is clear cut and precise on exactly what's going to happen. I was like, my goodness.
Yeah,
talking about the Edomites, about their greed, their arrogance, and thinking they're wiser than people, and it's clear cut. It's not, our Father is not complicated. He is very exact and clear on what exactly is going to happen. This ain't no hocus pocus.
He was going to put a silly nation over us. Now, who's sillier than them? I mean, seriously. It's punishment because, number one, our people stopped worshiping the Most High, and they started trying to be more like the Gentiles. So, when you really think about it, he was like, since you want to be like the Gentiles, I'll just put the Gentiles over you.
Wow.
See how much you like it now. Well,
Mhm.
we all know we don't like it.
Yeah, our Father made it so painful. I'm truly convinced he made it so painful that we will never ever forget this. Never ever.
Let me tell you something. If we make it into the kingdom and somebody start acting up, I will be the first one to stone them.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll be
because I'm
I'll
not going through this shit again.
no more. I would be right there with you. I would be right there with you. Enough is enough. You know, when a person gets to the point where they clearly know what's going to happen reading the word, that they rather go ahead and just go through the wrath and judgment day. That's how horrible these people is. It's like, come on, we're gonna have to roll with it. It's not gonna be pretty. It's not gonna be pretty.
Yeah, and I also heard about the womb transplant, Efosa and Crystal Clear. Yeah, they're taking the wombs out of women in Africa and transplanting them into white women so they can have babies.
I wonder how young they doing that. Because you think they probably, because I know it's a cutoff point. It would have to be somewhere like at the age of probably 13 to
I'm not sure.
Your age of 30s, because I would have suspected they were gonna go after really young girls, because you know, as a woman get older, she's losing more eggs. So boy, these little young ladies, we have to protect them, because the enemy is vicious, because they are paranoid, and even with them doing that, it's not going to raise up their birth rate.
No, it's not.
They can do.
It's not, because there's only so many of them that can even afford to do that, for one.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, yeah, you know, I was looking at some stories where they had the womb transplant and they were able to have a baby, but no, I'm not giving up my womb so they can birth a bunch of beasts. No.
But I was astounded by that video that you did when you said this stuff I think you said their birth rate started dropping around in the 50s.
The 50s, yes.
Yeah. I said, wow.
It's been going on for a long time. They just never spoke about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the highest population was the baby boomers.
Yeah, that's it. And their baby boomers are all elderly now. So they're in the process of dying out. And once they die out, their group is really going to be small, because the baby boomers are the largest in the Caucasian
That was the last that we had of a high birth rate then. That was the last.
It was after the war.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of them came after World War II. Those were your baby boomers.
Mm-hmm.
And they are elders, and honey, they are on their way out.
Amazing.
And once they go, all of the other generations that came after them, they're much smaller.
Mm-hmm.
You mean like the Gen Xers, the Millennials, and the Generation Zs?
Yeah, they're much smaller than the baby boomers.
And this is why they're trying to do the same to us. But somehow our population is still increasing. Not to mention all the other countries have our people, and their populations are starting to increase while theirs are decreasing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, literally everybody in this country, including the immigrants, they're all gaining, you know, population every single year from the births.
That's why Trump is trying to kick them out.
Yeah, they're the only ones declining.
Mm-hmm.
And they're denying that.
Well, that's how they operate. Everything is a delusional lies. It really messes up my psyche, where we all say you just with your family, mm-hmm. and all of us is just lying to each other, and they just go along, and they want people to go along and get along with that. That is so dysfunctional to me. I just can't. My psyche can't deal with it. I just put it to you like that. It's like, I don't understand that.
Well, see, that's why they don't like dealing with us, because we are the truth. And see, they can't fight the truth. That's the thing. That's why they hate us so much.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot fight the truth.
Deep. How? That is deep.
You know, they, number one, they know they're in a situation that they cannot fight their way out of. You know, they're coming after us. It's just out of pure jealousy because we are not in the same predicament that they're in. They have tried everything
Mm-hmm.
to keep us from prospering.
How's the
And at
wrong
the end of
family?
the day, at the end of the day, we are still in better shape than them when you really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, crime is down in the Black neighborhood. Crime is going through the roof in the white neighborhood. We're not doing as many opioids. They
Mm-hmm.
are just dying left and right. In fact, I read an article just last night that the opioid rate has doubled
Damn.
from last year to this year. It has doubled the deaths. So they're not coming back from this, y'all. They can't. There is nothing they can do. If your birth rate is low, your elder population is dying out, your younger population is dying from drugs, plus the suicide rates are going through the roof. They can't come back from this.
It doesn't, because I was reading that, like, they was saying somewhere I read where they said for every 3,000 white men die a day, they was using like a guesstimate, 3,000 white men die a day, 300 white males is born today. They can't catch up, you know. So even though it was 300 of them born today, 3,000 died, just the males alone.
Yeah.
I wonder how many black males are born a day and how many black males die a day. That's what I want to know.
I have to look it up.
We have gained, from what I understand, every year several thousand. Okay, which is the norm. I know I went back to, you know, even look at the 60s, and Black people were gaining 800,000 people a year. Even back in the 60s, that's how many babies were being born. And it was like 200,000 died, but 800,000 babies were born. So we did not have a problem. That's why I'm telling you, they're lying about us being 12% of the population. If we are gaining like that every year, and I went all the way back to the 60s, all the way up to 2000, we gained every single year. Okay. There were years we would have 500,000 births, and there would be like 183,000 deaths in the Black community. But at no point did we flatline or drop into a negative number. Not at one point. That's right, Guru, they're lying. I'm telling you, if you go back and look at our numbers, you will never see a drop in the Black community to the point where the births did not outnumber the deaths. So there is no way we are sitting at some 12%. It is.
You know what? It's always been a myth. They have always been the minority wherever they go.
Yes.
Wherever they go. I have never believed that they were the majority anywhere that they go, because what they did, they just added, you know, because in fact they didn't even look at the Irish for years as unquote Caucasian. They put them in. They even put the Italians in. They just added, you know, kept adding people on so they can look bigger than what they is and stuff. You know, really, that's just really how they gotten away with it. And you know, they have a sense of feeling superior, but they have to constantly, and Trump is the one showing how they really get down. They have a constant need to be validated. So what I was thinking about, because we don't know what it feels like, they're soulless. They have an emptiness in them. So they really feel empty within. That's probably the most scariest feeling, where you're constantly feeling empty. So I look at them as a parasite, and we giving them what they want. We giving them life. And when we pull away from that, don't even acknowledge their existence, pull our energy back. We don't have to demonstrate who we are, because they want to be that. They are really soulless and empty within.
Yeah, no, they're not superior. That's why it has to be taught and not shown. I mean, if they were really superior, don't you think we would have seen it by now? We haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen it yet.
And then you take like these, you know, these white folks, you know, you can imagine at the dinner table, they nigga, this and that.
Yeah.
And they're being shielded in their own little homes, but then they get out into the real world and it shocks them to their core. They get depressed and everything, because it's like, wait a minute, I'm smarter than these people. I'm better. You know, you're not.
No, they know they're not. You know, first of all, you know what? If you are good at something, people will see it because it will show. If you got to sit around and keep pointing at yourself saying, I'm superior, I'm the better one, then that tells me you're not. You know, and that's pretty much what they do. They teach it, but when it comes down for them to put up or shut up, they don't. They can't.
No,
Come on. I'm sorry. I said this before. I'm going to say it again. Nothing that burns the fuck out in the sun is more superior than me.
That's true. Isn't that amazing that the sun is actually a
weapon,
a natural weapon, and then when I studied even more about the sun, and y'all know what I'm going to say, I was astounded because I had to go look for myself that the sun is actually black.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Truly amazing to me. So it was just one person on my channel. He said, that's the craziest thing I ever heard. And I'm like, don't take my word for it. Do your own research.
That's why I say the sun is pro-black, more pro-black than some of these black
the
people.
sun is consistent. Sun been on point, doing what the sun got to do. I didn't know the levels of it when those some of them videos Lisa do. It's hard to look at, but it's reality. I didn't know that they sunburn to that extent, and I didn't know that if they out there too long, they'll throw up in the sun.
Yeah.
They'll pass. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know how
growing up
that
comes from overheating and sunstroke.
Wow.
Sunstrokes, yeah.
As a matter of fact, at my job, there was the security guard. I can tell he stayed out in the sun for a little bit too long, because when I saw him walking through where my job was at, it's like around his eyes was his, like, you know, his natural color, but everywhere else was like really red. Like it looked like I was like, wow, I'm so glad that I am not white and that I have a good amount of melanin to protect me from stuff like that, because that does not look healthy at all.
Yeah. Hey, information man.
I think you have to unmute him first.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
How y'all doing? I muted myself. How you doing? Yeah. I was muting myself because I was doing some things at my desk and I didn't want to make any noises. But I'm listening. I'm sitting back and I'm listening. I'm taking in the knowledge and enjoying what everybody is speaking upon.
Okay. Well, you can jump in anytime you want. Okay,
I will do that. I'm doing a few things, but I'm just gonna listen and I'll jump in whenever I can. So,
okay.
Hey, Torain, brother Torain, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you?
All right, man. We gotta. I need to get your email, brother. We need to do a stream together, brother. Talk about these issues. I like your
no
style.
problem.
And the other brother that's all the brothers on there. Keep speaking the truth. And what you said about the prison system is 100% true. I deal with it. I deal with it every day. It's they have this, check out this thing called prison industry in California.
Okay.
It's called the prison industry. They're the ones that make all the products for the inmate. Do you know that if I was in prison and I had to make a phone call to my family, the phone companies double the amount of money that they'll charge the families in a collect call compared to if we were calling our family out here in the streets collect, right?
Right.
And the prison industries make thousands and billions of dollars because they produce the clothes. A lot of these brothers and sisters in prison, they buy their canteen, which is produced by prison industries, right? They're overcharged for stuff. They're making 25 cents an hour when they work. Oh, I could tell you a lot of things about prison.
Okay. Now, I had a cousin that was a corrections officer, and he told me a lot of stuff. He said it is crazy in there. And
yeah.
he told me, he said, you can't even imagine how many black guys walked up to me that were inmates in there and told me, I don't know why I'm in here. I didn't even do nothing. And he said, he told me, he said, you know what, Lisa, I believe him. I believe all of them.
Yeah.
I believe them.
I can't damn, I need to do a show about it. I can't begin to tell you the countless number of accounts that I've talked to guys where they were the racist correctional officers, KBs, were doing racist things to them, beating them.
Oh yeah, they hang them too.
Brutalizing them. Yeah, hanging them, beating them, messing up their back. Now they got to get surgeries for stuff, knocking busting eye sockets. Yeah. Oh yeah, I could tell you some things.
Queen, you know what? My cousin was telling me that. He said, you know, lynching is rampant in those prisons. And those white supremacist guards are the main culprits doing it. And that's what happened to Sandra Bland. That's what happened to her. She got lynched in prison.
That's just so sad. And I was thinking about what you were saying, Lisa, about I think you were saying it yesterday, where you know they'll just you know, we'll just make a plea and just we ain't did the crime, and you know, if you do a jury trial, they're gonna give you more time. So then you have to just consider.
Yeah.
It happened to my husband. See, what happened to my husband was when his sister was alive, she was messing around with some guy that had jumped on her, and he was a white guy. He was actually a professor she was messing around with, and my husband went over there and beat the living crap out of him. I mean, he beat that white man awfully bad, and that's why he got in trouble. And so he ended up getting a record in his 40s. And the lawyer that he had was so sorry. He said, Mr. Santana, just go ahead and just take the time. They wanted to give him like 3 or 4 years. And my husband, he should have been a lawyer. He fired him right there on the spot. And he fought his own case, but he tickled me. He said, he told the judge said, well, why did you fire Mr. Santana? He said he gay. He was feeling on my leg. And so he fought it. And he had to just do 8 months. And the white guy wanted him to take all this time. He said, this is my first time offense. He just told the truth. He said, I was wrong. I got pissed off. I beat the living shit out of him and stuff. And he just said, he just told it straight up. And they went to his job. The marshals picked him up and took him to jail. And so when he had to go meet with the probation officer and all of that, one day the probation officer got pissed off at him because he always on time and stuff. He had came there too early. And do you know when you doing when you don't show up, and if you got like a drug case and you come up dirty and all this stuff, if you're not doing what they tell you to do, you keeping them a job. You keeping them a job because they know these people gonna mess up and just stuff. Like and it pissed that man off because he would show up early, and he said, "Wow, you're just always here on time." And he said, "What do you mean?" And I told my husband, I said, "They expecting you and the others to screw themselves up. You know, they have a list of demands, what you're supposed to do. And a lot of times it's just like a revolving door. It ain't always necessarily they didn't did something. They can literally just show up late or test positive for some type of drug in their system. That's ridiculous to me to put somebody in jail. They the one that's harming their damn self for that."
Yeah, my cousin was telling me when he was a guard, they throw black guys in solitary confinement for some of the most ridiculous things, and they just have to put them in there. He was saying one day it was a nurse and she was treating an inmate, and they were talking, and you know how sometimes people get involved with talking. Well, he reached out to touch her because they got into a pretty intense conversation, and they were laughing, and he said they were enjoying the conversation. Because he reached out his arm, they grabbed him and threw him in solitary confinement just for that.
Oh, you know, is Information Man listening? Down there where Information Man was living when they came with that 3 strikes here in California.
Yeah.
This brother stole a slice of pizza.
Yeah.
And
pizza
that
in
was his.
Pier
You
39.
remember that? Go ahead and tell it.
Yeah, there was a they made the 3 strikes law, which by the way was created by 2 cave beasts at Hayward State University. They introduced that bill or that paperwork, and then they turned it into a law. And a brother on, I think in the Pier 39 area of San Francisco, I think he stole they claimed that he stole pizza from a young lady or somewhere like that. And as a result, they gave him 3 strikes, you're out. That was his 3rd strike. He went to jail and got a life sentence off of that.
Pizza.
Okay. Yeah. And you know that law was designed specifically for us in mind. But the True Royal Family, I wanted to tell you something. The prison system, San Quentin, CSP SAC, all of it is all racist stuff. But I'm going to tell you something that's really a trip. There's a prison, research it, called High Desert. It's just before you get to, I believe, if you're going to like Pelican Bay. Every guy that I've ever dealt with over the years, every single one of them, whether it be black, Latino, they can't stand High Desert because High Desert is in a little small town. It's the prison pretty much employs all the cave beasts that live up there. They're very racist, and every single guy that goes into that prison, they want out. So when they run across our department, the mental health, they all say the same thing. Don't send me back there. I can't go back there. They're racist. They're racist. And it's actually freaking true. I even had a psychiatrist. He was a white guy, a beast. Okay. And he went up there and transferred and worked there for about 2 weeks. And he said he had to get the hell out of there because he couldn't believe how racist it was. Oh, this was a white guy. Okay. A doctor. He said, I had to get out of there. He said it was totally backwards up there. So you got California is not this liberal state that people think it is. Okay, you got a lot of racial stuff going on. If True Royal Family, if you drive past Roseville, California, and you go deeper into El Dorado Hills and go past El Dorado Hills, there's a community where they're not used to seeing black people. They got swastikas. You walk in there, they look at you like you came out of a zoo or something. There's some places in California that if you black, you do not want to have your ass in.
Like Napa, you don't want to be up there in Napa, the wine country. You don't want to be.
A story came out about.
You don't want to be in Berkeley.
A story came out not long ago saying the reason why that fire took place up there, it was from down power lines.
That's what they say, but I don't believe it.
That's what they claim started the fire.
I don't believe it.
Lisa, when they had that fire, the first one, because the first one was up here in northern and the second one was in southern.
Right.
I kid you not. I even did a video about it. Me and my husband was doing Bible study, and we were going over that everything would be just burned down in 1 hour. And so we were just reading it. And I remember Phil from the Advice Show, Kim said, I really want you to read. I forget what scripture it was. And I skipped the day, and I said, because I said I promised him I was going to do it. So me and my husband was just reading and going over it, and it was really windy, and we was like, what is that? But we kept studying. And so then when it was over with, my husband went to sleep, and I was up, and I could smell smoke. And I said, I woke him up, and I said, something is burning. We didn't even know it was that far away. And I said, let's cut on the news and find out. And what was tripping me and my husband out was we was watching the news the very next day, and it would be like one house, it'd be like maybe 10 houses burned, and then one house wouldn't even be touched, or it'd be 4 or 5 cars burnt up and 2 wouldn't be touched. And they had like a plastic ornament in front of someone's house. It wasn't even touched. And I'm looking at this, and I'm like, this is the hands of Yah. That's what I was thinking in my head, that it was like really selective what was being burned down. Because my husband said, isn't that a trip?
Tornadoes too, Queen. A tornado will take out houses, and then it'll skip over a house and then take out the next house.
What it made me think of was, I said, is these some praying folks in their house? You know, because it was really, some of them, that fire was really intense. All we could smell was smoke for the longest up in the Bay Area. It was really a trip. And
Lisa,
Yes.
Lisa, I apologize for the inconvenience, but I had to take care of a troll in the chat. You know, I just got sick of his negativity. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. No problem.
Go ahead, y'all keep talking. I just want to let Lisa know that.
Mm-hmm.
troll?
I was mentioning the other day how these, and I ain't seen a native yet. Maybe I'm missing an interview in Hawaii that they have interviewed, in these white, it's just all white folks, and
It's white folks.
and
that do-
and it was like a week ago, the reporter was crying, white guy, and I said, look at this. I said, literally getting a little piece of the raft there. I'm gonna ride it out. You on molten lava. It's gonna do what it's gonna do. It ain't nothing you can do.
There's no way to fight that.
No.
That's why I don't understand why they're still sitting there.
Yeah,
I don't believe it either.
well, that gives us a more insight on their psyche. They're, you know, we really got to pay attention to it. Like I said, they soulless. Okay, a lot of them are adrenaline junkies. They like to do death-defeating stuff, bungee cord, and so you don't see too many Black people doing that. They got to get a thrill. They got to feel something. You know, when they get high, they overuse this stuff, because that what happens to a beast when they soulless. So they're trying to feel their soul. You know,
the thing with these dumbass cave beasts, they literally think they could beat y'all, you know, with all this advanced technology and all this other stuff, you know.
That's why they
with
got
the
NASA
water.
up there too.
Yeah, you know, they try to poison the water, poison the crops and all this, but y'all's gonna kick their butt.
But you know, Revelation 8 verse 9 tells you that the ocean will die.
Wow.
You know, everything in the ocean is supposed to die. So what we're seeing, that is already prophesied. It's going to happen. There's nothing to stop it. You know?
I think I know a reason why that some of those people are just trying to stay on that island and not evacuate. They think that they can, if enough people scare off and they stay behind, they happen to survive. They think they're going to try to take over the Hawaii. Because you know Hawaii is.
You know, they have taken over Hawaii. Look at what's going on. You just said something deep, J-Dog. Lisa did that video about sunscreen. Okay. They have that coral reef down there, and it's very delicate. And they think that you would think that they invented surfboarding. They done took over this whole island. And if you really go study the history, the last queen of that Hawaii, they put her in house arrest. You got to really check that out. Anyway, now it's showing you they are not welcome anywhere. They don't even want them. The creator don't even want them in the water. They use too much damn sunscreen. Now all of a sudden, they got that volcano over there. You really pay attention. I'm really seeing how this thing is working.
Pay attention to their politics. The last time I was in Hawaii, I was on my honeymoon back in the day, and I have a friend that was going to school and lived there. So when I went to Hawaii, I didn't do the tourist things. I was able to go to areas where the native people go to. I mean, I was on like beaches that were isolated from tourists, right? And one of the things I found about their politics is that, do you know that they were trying to forbid the children, the native Hawaiians, from speaking their native tongue? They didn't want them to speak it in the schools. They were penalizing the kids. They were trying to push them to learn English, and they were pushing the colonialism on them, which they've been doing for years. So there's a lot of politics in Hawaii. You got the Japanese that are no friends to the native people there, and a lot of Hawaiians believe it or not, they do have African blood in them. They do have
yeah.
African ancestry.
Yeah,
Almost
you know,
They've
every
been
native
doing that
person
to
I
us
met,
too.
yeah.
They've been doing that
but-
to us too. They
stripping the language. It's powerful.
Hey, but this speaking to what the Royal Queen just said, the fact that they allowing this sunscreen into the water, I guess this explains why they putting all them drugs in the damn water then.
They actually, KD, they've been putting drugs in the water, I think, since about the 50s. Yeah, it's been going on a long, long time.
They're trying to turn people gay. I think that's
Hey,
what
they,
they're trying to do
they
with some
said
of them drugs.
Yeah,
I
they,
think,
this
I think
is why
Alex
this-
Jones.
this is like
I think Alex Jones, despite me not liking Alex Jones, he might be on point on one thing. They are. He was like they were. Okay, maybe not, but he's like he's putting drugs to turn the frogs gay. I think they meant to do that on us.
So this is why they're drugging up the water to take us out. And I think this speaks to a bigger point to what the Royal Queen was saying.
I'm just looking as I'm thinking as we're talking, and I'm looking at all these different correlations with the seafood that we're talking about. We know they did that. They don't care what they put in the damn ocean. Then they putting all this sunscreen on, and they're not welcome back in the ocean because they gotta have a damn sunscreen.
Gotta keep reapplying it every 2 hours.
Yeah. And then it's like Mother Nature is rejecting them. Now lately, these damn birds is attacking them. This woman just recently, the other day, got her ass whooped by a monkey.
I saw that.
And I'm just sitting here looking at how just Mother Nature itself is rejecting them. They tired of them, you know. I'm loving it that the animals is turning in on their tail.
Oh, that is supposed to happen.
But these volcanoes are also turning up on those cave beaches in Hawaii too. So they can sit there and think they owning all they want, but they're gonna get their day in Hawaii too. They ain't gonna be able to hide nowhere.
Yeah.
You ever heard about the curse in Hawaii? Have anybody ever heard about that?
What's that, Royal Queen?
Heard about it.
Well, and it's actually real. They say on all those islands, she don't want you to take none of the rocks because you know people like to. I'm a rock collector. I collect rocks wherever I go, different states and whatever, and you don't take no rocks from that region. And when my stepmother and my father went to Hawaii, they went to the national park in Hawaii, and you know how you can go. They'll have a little place to buy a little gift shops, and when they went in there they had all these pictures you can look at, and she said there was a display case there. It was huge, and there were letters under the rocks. Well, you can actually read them, and they were letters under the rocks, and it was all, she said it was all over the world, and people were talking about the bad experiences that they had when they took the rock. And I mean, they were tons of rocks. It was a couple of display cases of rocks, and people were having all type of mishaps and everything. Check that out. It's real. So she don't want you to take nothing off her island. You will have bad luck.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, really. But you know, that just go to show you that, you know, the spiritual connection that's there. There's got to be something spiritual behind why that's happening.
Yeah, that's deep. I mean, some people say, "Oh, that's crazy," but no, you and I heard of it, but I didn't really pay much attention to it because the first time I heard of it, I was watching the Brady Bunch, and it was talking about not taking nothing off of there, and you know, you didn't think much of it. And then when my stepmother told me that, I was like, "Wow, so it is real." It really is real. And you know, most of them was white folks because they're very defiant, and these people was making sure that rock got back to the island. They was getting their tail tore up.
Yeah, I'm not shocked that they're the ones taking the rocks.
No, they just totally invaded and took over Hawaii, everything over there it's like in Alaska, costs way damn too much. It's ridiculous what it costs to
Not to
live.
mention Hawaii's been bombed.
Yeah, I know it have, but but it's just ridiculous. Like a loaf of bread will cost you damn near $5.
Wow.
Yeah, they charge a lot, and it's the same thing in Alaska too as well. And they have a really big opiate problem up in Alaska, because a lot of people like to just act like they are resident there, because every year they in Alaska they give everybody $1,000 if you got to prove that you're a resident. And so they said it's when they started doing it, it increased their drug issues, because as soon as they get the money, they on that whatever drug of choice. And then they have a huge domestic violence situation in Hawaii too. Not in Hawaii, in Alaska, because people are in most of the time. And like I and a lot of us say this, the beasts, they always want to attack us, but when they don't have anything to attack, they're gonna turn on themselves and eat their own. I mean, I'm telling you, all we got to do is stay out of the way. They gonna take care of themselves, and Mother Nature in the divine hand.
That is the truth.
Yep,
it is the absolute truth. Now, this story that came out, Florida actually went a year without doing any gun permit checks. They just let them all go through.
What?
So maybe now we know why it wasn't hard for Nicholas Cruz to get all those weapons. Yeah, they said permits were given to people that were disqualified
to
have a conceal and carry weapon. But because they did no checks for the entire year, all of those people got permits.
Well, here's the thing. Because to them, the gun is God to them. Basically, without it, they will be too weak. And when someone tries to stop them from gunning a gun, they will do whatever it takes to get one. But if we try this, they'll have AFT, then they'll start putting gun control and stuff like that. Just like what happened with the Black Panthers. The moment, and my parents even said this, the moment we even start getting permits, because I'm thinking of getting a permit, but the moment we even start getting permits or even talking permits, watch as they're going to start changing the laws, the gun control, and start finally putting gun control in, because it happened with the Black Panthers before.
Yeah.
Wait, wasn't the Black Panthers created by people who was in the Vietnam War? Black people who was out of the Vietnam War?
No, it wasn't. How it was formed is Huey Newton and Bobby Seals. Huey Newton and Bobby Seals were attending Laney College in Oakland, California, and they got tired of what's going on right now, the injustice, and how in Oakland the cops was doing folks, and Huey Newton was like the brains of the operation. He looked up all the laws and everything, and then Bobby Seals was pretty much like the muscle for them. He didn't take no crap, and then they just formed the Black Panthers, and then they had their they did have some rules. I forget what they call it, because my second mom, she said that one of the Panthers is still living. He actually got the original, and they said they're going to send me a copy because I was going to read it off and stuff. And their headquarters was it's still up. It's still owned by Black people, but it's a bakery now called It's All Good, where their headquarters is. Because when you go to this bakery, you'll see all the, because they had the newspapers, and they got them all like shellacked and put up on the walls and everything. And they were the first to start feeding these babies and it didn't matter the race of the child. They would get a nice meal. And I can distinctly remember Carnation Milk delivering milk. And when we were kids, we used to get milks in these little paper cartons, and it had a little paper on the top. It was square, and you had to pop it off. I remember that very well. And I would walk with my mother early in the morning, in the Catholic church in San Francisco allowed the Panthers to use all the facilities. It was a lot of white people assisting them, and that started pissing these black folks off, because when you feed people, they listen to you. They had a sickle cell research team. And then they not only did they do the breakfast once a week, you would get a bag of groceries. They even had a health clinic. They even had a little school to teach people how to read and write, and because some people simply didn't even know how to fill out an application. It was just more. It wasn't just, they always show the guns, and they might talk a little bit about the breakfast program. And these white folks did never even think that these babies need a meal in the morning. They took that over, like they invented that stuff.
Yeah.
So it was essentially like the first, like the first WIC program. That's a really good program. And it has, I had to give it to Michelle Obama. She expanded it to make it where they get fresh fruits and vegetables. So now they got WIC stores, if you don't want to go to the grocery store, that have everything in it. Because my cousin, she was on WIC. I was on WIC too. Because you can get it through your pregnancy, and then you can get WIC all the way up to your child turn 5 years old. Because you're getting beans, you're getting rice, you're getting juice, you're getting milk, cheese, eggs, butter. And that really cuts down your grocery bill big time. I mean, when my son turned 5, I was like, oh wow, this sucks. It was so much, it was so much stuff. I was giving stuff to family, and what was astounding to me, some are like my husband's daughter, she just had a baby, and they hitting it real hard. Her and her husband, they real bad with money. She too ashamed to go down there to get WIC, because they give baby formula. You get cases of baby formula.
I know. Yeah, I knew a couple of people that were on it. So yeah, I'm aware of the baby formula.
And I've always told people,
I used to work at Bristol Myers Squibb, the pharmaceutical company. And because I was an employee, we used to go to the store that they had on the work campus, and they made Enfamil. And we could get a whole case for like $5.
Wow.
And people would be, give me a case. I would have a whole fistful of $5 trying to get cases for everybody. But yeah, as long as I worked there, I could get the entire case of Enfamil for $5. So I had all these people were handing me $5, because we were only allowed to go in the store once a month. So anybody that had a baby, they were all handing me. Sometimes I was getting 8 cases just to give everybody.
Some people are like my husband's daughter. She's embarrassed to go down there and get that. And I told that girl, I said, how I look at it, it's because we ain't gonna never get it. It's our 40 acres and mule. I said, they do it with dignity now. You have just a little card now that people don't even know if you're on it. And formula is expensive. And so some people are, shamed to get it. And it's like, you better go down there and get that, because you got to eat. They owe it to us. They ain't even even begin to pay us back. So if you can go get WIC, or you can get housing, because people be talking about, they're going to cut off your Section 8 and all of that kind of stuff like that. Don't be ashamed of that stuff.
Yeah, they gonna cut it off. It ain't cut off now. Okay.
Y'all remember y'all remember the government cheese programs? I grew up off of that.
Oh my goodness!
I'm taking y'all way back. Government cheese.
Yeah, surplus cheese.
And you made the best grilled cheese sandwiches with that.
Somebody gave my father some. They were on welfare. and they got so many bricks, those long bricks of
Those
cheese.
bricks.
Hey, but it was good.
Yeah.
That cheese was good. Made the best grilled cheese sandwiches you ever want to eat.
Now, my father's friend, one of his friends was on, the family was on welfare, and they brought 2 of them and gave them to my father. He got so many of them. He was giving them away. That's how many he was getting.
Hey, Info Man, I remember those long bricks of cheese. I mean, I was a little kid and I saw them.
Yeah, I grew up off of that, man. You know?
Info Man in over in Marin City, Info Man, where Tupac used to live.
Yes.
I went my ex-husband's family been in Marin City since the 50s. So they're activists over there. And if y'all seen these projects, it's over there where Spielberg lived too. If y'all see these projects, you would think that these are the nicest condos you ever seen. That's how nice it looked. But when you get closer up in there, you realize you're in the hood. Well, anyway, we went to go visit some relatives over there one time this was back in the late 80s, and they were giving out that cheese too, but they were giving it in smaller blocks, and they were Swiss, cheddar, and Monterey. I was like, damn. Now that's the good cheese. That them big blocks, that ain't all cheese. We don't know what's in there, but they had them little scaled down a little bit. And I said, this is because these white folks live over here. That's the reason they doing it. That's exactly what they're doing.
But we all know white folks are on welfare more than black people, although they paint the picture of welfare being a black face,
right?
Bag lady and all that type of nonsense. But I ain't gonna lie, that government cheese, man, woo, that's some good cheese, brother. I'm gonna tell you, them grilled cheese sandwiches. Because when I was a kid, my mom was on welfare. She came from back east, and then she got on her feet, went to school, got some education, and turned her life around. So we used welfare. My mother used welfare as a way to get herself where she needed to be. And a lot of times, there's a lot of black folks that have done that. And they paint this picture that we just want to be on welfare.
White folks have done it. In fact, more of them have done it than us.
And let me tell you another story. My mom had to do a bankruptcy one time. She wanted to get some debt off of her, right? She went to a lawyer, and she was a little ashamed about doing a bankruptcy. Don't be ashamed to do it, because she had a lawyer, and the lawyer told her exactly what I'm saying to y'all. He said, "Don't be ashamed." He said, "You see those cars out there, Rolls Royces and BMWs? I've got white folks that come in here filing."
They made that for them. That was strictly when they put bankruptcy together. That was strictly for white folks.
Exactly.
To get out of debt. They didn't have us in mind.
But this is what white folks do. They lose their money, and then they file bankruptcy, and then they rebuild their wealth. Black people, black people, don't be ashamed if you have to do that. White folks have been getting over on that system for a long time. And as soon as we start utilizing it, guess what they do? They start manipulating the program and changing it so we can't benefit from it.
Yeah.
So it's reality. White folks are filing. Donald Trump. He's got over 35 or more bankruptcies.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's the president of this country, so-called president.
Okay. Troll. I hear a troll.
Where is he? I'm heading over there right now.
It's me.
Oh,
it's
I
me.
was hearing something.
I thought it was
don't
do that, brother. You was about to vanish.
You were getting ready to get the boot.
Info Man. I didn't heard I didn't read about some secrets that that we could file for bankruptcy even without punishment. I'm gonna dig up on those couple of those articles, and I'm gonna get back to you.
You know what they do? You know what they do now when people file bankruptcy? They used to say you wouldn't be able to get anything for like 5 to 7 years. Now when people file bankruptcy, you be getting all kind of letters to get credit cards. They want to get you right back.
3 years, you get it
right back in debt.
People don't even wait 3 years, believe it or not.
They
there are some financing companies that will help you right away now.
Info Man, like they got all these types of secrets online, man. I didn't as soon as I dig them up again, I'll probably send you through email.
Okay, brother, you got my email and everything.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Hey, you know what? I wanted to say to you all, I got pretty much a good number of people's emails, and I want to get more because one of the ways you can keep these trolls from slicing into your chat rooms, like that idiot that tried to come into the chat room last night, is just, I mean, just to send the private, as you already know, send the private links to everybody individually, because that's how he's getting in. He's getting in through the links that I put in the chat room, and then he's creating a fake avatar. I put a big fat report on him last night too. I put a big fat report and got evidence.
Info man, wink, wink.
I hear you.
Hey, Info man, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
How can I get your email?
Didn't I write you? Didn't you send me your email?
I don't think I send anyone my email. I've been getting a lot of your emails. I've been getting a lot of other people's emails, but I don't think anyone has ever gotten mine.
If you got my email, brother, just send me an email with your email, and then
I don't think I have your email. What?
All right. Well, I'll put it in the chat room, brother. Can you get it that way? Or if anybody has your email, a True Royal Family, do you have the brother's email?
J Dogs?
Yeah, do you have his email?
I do.
Send him my email if you don't mind.
All right.
Send him my email, and then we can communicate that way, brother.
All right, that'll be good.
Yeah, because I need to
get her email too.
I need to get you in my system so that way, when I want to bring people into the chat room, the panels, I can send private links to everybody too.
I actually have 2 emails. I have 2 emails.
No, the one. What email? Okay, you have 2 emails.
Yes.
Okay, why don't you just, when you write me,
I'm gonna give this one.
Give me your emails too when you write me.
The one that you normally use. I'm getting ready to send it to him right now.
Yeah, and then J Dog, just put your information in there, brother, and then I will put that in my contacts, and then you'll be in my Google contact system. You'll sync right on in perfectly.
Very well.
Yeah, no problem, brother. This is
all right. There you go. I just sent it.
Hey, let me just make last night I made an announcement that when we get close to the holidays, I was talking to Brother Lowcast. We want to try to do like a live stream marathon between different channels. I mean, we're talking about all day into the night to the next day. So, Brother Torain, I want you on board. I want everybody on board in here that does live streaming for that. And we're gonna make these announcements as the coming months come. We're gonna make this a fantastic event.
You know what? I think what I'm gonna do when we do that, I think I'm gonna do the comet relief, because people gonna be dozing off, and I want people to start sending me a bunch of videos, because I didn't do it the last Friday, the comet relief, just to get us to laugh. And when I did that last one, do you know some people really believed that? They didn't realize it was a joke. When I was saying that my husband was having an affair with a 100-year-old woman, 2 doors down.
Oh my God.
People was like, oh my goodness, that's a shame to him. And Cap laughed so hard. Oh, that was the funniest laugh and stuff. Sometimes, laughter is healing. These stories can make you depressed. When we be doing our research, some of them some of that stuff I can't even do. It's too depressing. Then I got to thinking, I said, you know what? We need to have a day where we just laugh, just healing, just crack up and just laugh. I don't know if I can keep it going for that long, but I'll try.
Well, what'll happen is each of us, let's say from the beginning of the morning, each of us do a show about whatever different subject. And then everybody will go from each platform to each platform throughout the whole day into the night, just like a complete marathon. So we're gonna get more and more people on board with this. I think it's gonna be very exciting.
So when we do the marathon, would it be running simultaneously or one at a time?
We're gonna have to work that out. I thought maybe it would make more sense to go from channel to channel, or maybe have stuff going simultaneously. We have to work out the kinks, because it's really going to depend on how many people, how many YouTubers we get on board. But I think it will be great to be able to go to each channel and support each channel throughout the night. and throughout the evening and however far it goes. I mean, hell, we were up to about 3 o'clock in the morning Western time last night.
Wow. Yeah,
And we
we were.
I mean,
I still got some good sleep afterwards.
yeah, I got a good 4 hours, but it was fantastic. So I'm saying something like that would be very, very exciting. We can all, pick. We just have to organize it, and we'll get it going. And I mean, I'm sure you all have connections to other YouTubers that we don't have that you can get on board with this. I think it may be a fantastic thing, and it should unify us.
Yeah, Info Man snuck me in at the last minute last night.
Yeah. Well, KD, you always hack your way into the show, but you cool. I don't mind you hacking into the show because I know you ain't coming in here with no trolling type stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I learned how to do that. So yeah, I pick up on things real cool.
That real coon last night tried to come in, and I said, "Bloop, you out of here!" before he can continue, because he was coming in getting ready to talk, and I was like, "What? Bam, out of here!"
I seen his butt pop up in there. That dude is crazy. I seen some of the videos he do.
Yeah,
I mean, he's out of his mind.
Yeah,
he'd be like, white people are not superior. They're third graders. Dominant. I think he'd be talking to himself. I really do.
Wow.
If that plantation didn't kick my ass, he would have got taken care of. I guarantee you.
I don't know. I just know that I put that report out on his ass. He keeps it going on, and I'm gonna continue to put that report out on his butt. And I might have to get security.
Hey, Mr. Information Man, I got a question though. Like,
yes, sir.
What kind of stocks? Yeah, what kind of stocks I should invest into?
Stocks, brother.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I haven't really played around. I have my retirement plan, the old 401k plan. Plus, I have pension plan with the state, and then I have my own savings that I have in my own personal, accounts for retirement and all that. But I was going to get involved in the stock market. I know Dr. Boyce Watkins. He has this theory that if you invest $5 a day in legitimate stocks, that you can build wealth every day, like in that manner. But the stock market is very funny.
Yeah,
you saw how people lost their 401k.
Yeah, I even
the 2007 crash. And their bank accounts.
I even heard Lisa talk about that in one of her videos.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I'm very wary of the stock market for that reason, because I've lost money in a little bit of money that I had in my 401k.
I wanted to announce here. Somebody had put in the thread that they found one of these white actors dead. His name is Jack O'Dell. Is found
just now.
So check this out: dead in a sober living home in California. 20 years old.
Dude, why does every celebrity gotta die at a home or something?
Yeah,
I don't know. That is strange.
Yeah, he's an actor, and I said, "Dang!" But so he's in a sober living home.
These people don't have the wealth that you think that they have. A lot of these actors die poor and broke.
Yeah.
They I think Lisa was saying that they be in those go to them drug programs or like the sober living home. They be sneaking that stuff in and getting tore up.
Yeah, they said sometimes there's more drugs in the rehab than it is on the street.
Ooh,
alcohol. I was reading how alcohol is really dangerous because bloodstream, your body absorb it, and drinking abundance of, like that white girl that from England. She was in her 20s, died of drinking tons of alcohol. I forget that girl's name. They was worshiping her the way she is singing. I was like, damn, these folks is young and stuff. And it has really got to these white folks when that other guy is two unquote celebrities then killed themselves this month. They go right straight into panic mode, putting up crisis hotline numbers and this is blah 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 because they scared they're gonna have some more copycats.
Well, the Most High said they're gonna wish for death and it won't come. When we get really towards
watching this stuff right before our eyes. I mean, it literally some of the things that you be saying, Lisa, is literally incredible. I said, wow. I said, that's straight in the Bible. I mean, everything is just, people want to argue about it, but you can't deny what you see. It match right up. I just can't reject it.
No,
Mhm.
no. I mean, too much of it has come to pass,
Mhm.
and they know it.
Mhm.
They really do know it.
Mhm.
You know, there's a lot of events you can match up to what it says in that book. It's
Yeah.
no denying it. Hey, look, it's the best-selling book of all times. The Bible.
Uh-huh.
You know, but you got all these people running around talking about it's not true, it's fake, but it is still the #1 selling book of all time.
Mhm. Yeah, it's just incredible to me that you can match up right up to unquote modern day how these things are playing themselves out. Prophecies, curses. Isn't I just be sitting there like, oh my goodness. The one that really got to me was that night we all came together on my channel about Damascus. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And Lisa had did the video
Yeah.
a day before, and I was like, oh my goodness, she just did that. And I was like, oh, and when you were showing that picture and they were doing an aerial shot, all that rubble, and
Yeah.
I said, they're not gonna clear that out. That's just too much work.
That's why some of them are right here in America.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are here. And many of them are still over like in the European areas. Well, they should take them in. They caused the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this like they complain about the Africans and the Arabs going in there, but you went into Iraq and Iraq and Afghanistan, you bombed them up. So why are you complaining that you got to take them in? I mean, see, these people are like that. They will cause a condition on a person and then get mad when you try to hold them accountable for it.
Yeah, that don't make sense. It don't make sense. It really don't. They that's how dysfunctional they is, you know.
Yeah. But you know, now we know why there's so many school shootings in Florida. They let the permits. They stopped doing background checks, and all these qualified people got permits now.
They blaming the white woman too for these shootings. They blaming Becky. She didn't nurture her child right, or you reject one of these white guys. They want to date you, and you say no, and all you had to do was just go along and just date him, and he wouldn't shoot up the school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something is definitely wrong in their households because it's just too many. How do you end up with all these white males and every time you turn around, they're shooting, mass shooting? And you saw how many Stephen Paddock killed during that country western outdoor concert.
Man, that was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, he was right down on them.
Yeah.
All the arsenal that he had in the house.
Look at how the hotel allowed him to take all them weapons and ammunition into a hotel room. You know damn well if that was a black man, he wouldn't have got past the front door.
You know what? Let me tell you something that happened. Me and my husband, we have a membership at the Holiday Inn. So we were in the Holiday Inn down in Sacramento, and this one was a really nice one. And so I went downstairs where they have the computers, and it was a white guy. He was with another white guy. You could tell they was a gay couple, but they was up in age. And one of them, this is the God's honest truth, was walking around holding a dirty diaper for a human being. He was just walking around with this holding the diaper out, not balled up. You could see his waist in it. And do you know, we was right there where people come in and out of the lobby and everything. They act like they didn't see it.
Wow.
I mean, it was so disgusting. And my husband said, my husband don't have no filter. I could hear him. He walked out. He said, y'all better go take care of this motherfucker or I'm going to take care of him. He said he nasty and he walking around with a shitty diaper. And stuff. And then the part that made me drop my head when my husband said, he said, I guess he got punched in the ass so much he shitted on himself. I said, oh, Mary, no. I had to start looking. I said, oh, my husband didn't say that. I said, okay. Okay. He said that. All right. I'm not ashamed of him, but he said that and stuff. But I was just astounded how they was just playing like they didn't say it.
Yeah.
And when we arrive, we can just be standing there and it's a problem. You got a white man walking around with a shitty ass diaper and y'all don't see that? Wow.
Wow. That is crazy.
Highly dysfunctional.
Yeah. Yeah. But now you can see why all these shootings are going on in the schools in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's not going to change. They're not going to do anything about a white male with a gun in this country. So those shootings are never going to change.
Aren't they having damn near one every month? Damn near.
Yeah, I think Tareen, how many have there been this year? Is he still there?
Oh, you did. Oh, he did a video.
I think he did a video on how many there were.
Because I remember they started out the first of the year with a bunch of shootings.
Yeah, it was like 33.
Yeah, they shooting. By
the time Nicholas Cruz did that shooting, it was 33 at that time. So I know it's a lot more now.
Jeez.
Phil, the Advice Show just talked about another shooting, and it was, I think, at a golf course or something. This man was upset with, I think, his wife or something, or girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like she was leaving, and he ended up killing 4 people, and then he ended up shooting himself, and he's now on life support.
Oh yeah, I heard about that story.
Yeah, I think I heard about that one too.
It's not. I'm not surprised at all. How these people get out. They literally. I can imagine in their households, it's a straight ass hellhole with all that evilness and stuff.
And to make it worse, they will try to call them as like mental health issues. Maybe their mother didn't love them. I'm like, some of us Black people have gone through the same thing. We have mental disabilities, or we have been in broken homes, gang infested homes, and we're not you don't see a lot of school shootings in Black neighborhoods or in the hood or in the Black schools and stuff.
That's because, see, they did all the things that they don't want to do in the white schools. See, a lot of the Black schools got metal detectors. A lot of the Black schools will check the backpacks and do all of the things that the white schools refuse to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want? I want
to. A lot safer now.
Oh,
I want to go ahead and talk about all this.
Something real quick. Another thing is, if it was Black people or not other non-white people that are doing all these mass shootings, they'll be looking for terrorist cells and stuff like that, and what gang they're involved with and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I want to sit around here and talk about all this damn calling that they're doing. They're just going to show you that really, without all this protection, they're really weak as hell. They really are.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the metal detectors have been in the hood now for, oh my God, probably over a decade, probably even longer than that.
I'd say about over 20 years.
Yeah, probably.
Before I was even born.
Now I know somebody had told me the metal detectors in school started like around the 80s. So it's been in the hood.
Wow.
The schools there. You know, and plus gangs, they don't roll like that. They'll run up on your ass on the street. They ain't trying to come in no school for you. They'll just wait for it to and catch your ass out on the street and get you. That's how the gangs do it. They don't go in no damn school.
I heard some of these gangs have some kind of codes against, or used to have some kind of codes against going near schools and stuff like that.
Yeah. They don't, even the gangs don't go in there. They, like I said, they just wait and catch your ass up on the street.
Yeah, right.
When I was in high school, I went to Washington High School in San Francisco, and most of the gangs or most of the tough type of cats they would just say, "Hey, I'm gonna get your ass after school."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's how it was back then. You
Yeah.
know, you go to school, you do something wrong, you get into it with somebody, they just say, after school, we're gonna get your ass. We know where you live, we're gonna get you in the neighborhood. That's how we got down.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they got down back during that time in the 80s. You got your ass whipped up after school. You know?
Yeah, that's very true. All right, y'all. Trump is showing his ass.
Oh, I can't wait for this one. Look,
Trump brings chaos.
Look how he got
Man,
his
is
arms
this guy
crossed.
desperate for World War III? Is this guy really desperate for World War III?
Yeah.
They don't look happy on that picture. Look at their facial
He got his
expression.
arms folded, Queen. Look at his arms.
I'm looking at his arms. Look at his face. He must really been talking some
All the
BS.
world leaders are
Wow.
We're talking about a real live tropical orange right there at the G7 summit. I could pick his ass right off a tree.
We got a rotten bag of Cheetos. That's what we're dealing with, a rotten bag of Cheetos.
Let's let Lisa read this so we can hear what happened. I want to hear about this.
Well,
go right ahead and read.
To the G7, and he made all kinds of threats of putting more tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and the EU. They are
about to go
because he put on aluminum and steel.
That's a stupid idea.
And they're saying Canada is fighting because Canada already said they're going to get revenge on the US. They don't want to accept the tariffs because it's going to put their people out of work.
Wow.
And the EU, they're saying the same thing. And Trump said he's going to increase the tariffs. And Canada said, okay, we're going to go up on the tariffs on the US. So ultimately, you know who's going to suffer? It's going to be the working class people. It's going to be the working class people suffering.
Yeah, they're going to have to absorb all of that. He just came over there, defiant.
Yes. They said Trump came in the room and got started immediately with the world leaders. Trump brings chaos to G7 with trade threats and praise for Russia. And he want to know why he's being investigated.
You know why I think he does all this this stuff, being chaotic, bullying people. It's a defense mechanism because he don't know what the hell is going on. So he'll just, start a bunch of ruckus because he really feels threatened. It makes me go back to thinking about Bush #2. I remember one time he was up at the podium and it was a lot of reporters and he kept saying, I don't want a lot of questions. I don't want not a lot. And you can tell if they was going to ask something that he really couldn't comprehend, he was going to get down there and fight. Because they said, I read an article, they said he was borderline retarded, literally. Borderline. #2. And that is a defense mechanism because he lacked in so many areas. He don't know nothing about foreign policy, nothing, let alone with the Constitution here.
Yeah, and they already threw a bunch of tariffs on the Asians. So
well, that's gonna piss the Chinese off.
It got so bad, they were literally yelling at each other in the room, these world leaders.
Wow, he didn't got them stirred up like that.
And Trump was the one that brought the chaos in the room. They said it didn't start until he came in the room.
Wow.
The whole thing jumped off.
You can imagine what type of energy he got. He's so evil.
Yeah.
And notice one thing. These are European, North America, and Asian leaders. What do you think is going to happen if he was going to go near a bunch of African leaders? Matter of fact, because there was no African leaders there.
No,
this should be a warning to African leaders not to work with this president.
That's basically what we're looking at.
They said that what Trump is doing, what he's doing is going to isolate America from their own allies.
America don't have no friends. They have to pay for them to even
right, like a damn.
Hey, but Lisa, this goes right into what the Bible was talking about Babylon falling. Isn't America the current Babylon?
Yes.
I just want them to get
Got that
destroyed so
right.
we could get we could go straight to the kingdom.
Mhm.
And here's another one. Trump just blew up the G7.
Mhm.
This is what happens when we have mentally challenged people as our leaders.
Yeah.
First
That's what
Bush.
they want. That's what they wanted in all.
Yeah. Yeah. So it said before President Trump embarked to meet his fellow G7 leaders, Canada, last night, and he and Canada actually got into it the night before. And then when he came in the room, they said he immediately got started on everybody.
He just basically went buck wild.
Yes.
Just probably act like that crazy drunk that just walks up all the
He was
time.
just being a troll in the room.
Yeah.
He was trolling everybody. So
It's not good.
they has right here with his call to invite back Russia and his refusal to sign the final statement. You know, before they leave the meeting, they all sign a final statement. He wouldn't sign it.
Yeah, okay.
This is
I can see it right now. In a few months, maybe a couple years, World War III. And we can all thank this idiot right here.
He's
for
going to get
that.
something jumped off. And it's going to get so bad that nobody is going to help the U.S.
Hey, but hey, dog, as long as they accelerate the path to the kingdom, I could care less. All these damn Europeans could go.
Mm-hmm.
All I gotta say is need a passport immediately. Maybe dual citizenship.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, he literally made the whole thing chaotic. And they said this has never happened from any U.S. president.
Not even, especially not Obama.
Yeah.
But yet he want to criticize Obama.
Yeah. So I'm not surprised, but yeah, you're right. I wouldn't be surprised. See, I think Trump, if he knew the investigation may land him in prison or in court or something, I really believe this man would start a war just as a distraction. I really believe he would.
I honestly believe that he's really trying to get to the multi-billionaire status by just being president. I think that's the real reason why he sought the office in the first place.
Yeah. Because, Trump don't
trying
have
to rich
money. That's why he
himself.
got all upset over that comedian. That was funny. That's why he got all upset over the comedian saying that he was broke and didn't have no money.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that Russia got some big-ass payout waiting for him in the near future. I think that's why he's in love with Russia.
And he probably doesn't want his golden shower video up on the air as well.
Yeah, right. Oh my God.
I don't even see him getting reelected in 2020. I'm sorry, but all this chaos, I don't.
Yeah.
If he does,
Yeah,
it's
True
the end
said
of the
she was
world.
late.
If he does get reelected, it's the end of the
Okay,
world.
hold on. I'll get the link to her.
But J-Dog, I don't care who wins. I mean, I'm still against the cave beast. My mind state don't change just because Trump possibly up out of there.
You know what, KD, these cave beasts are crazy enough to put him back in office.
It's going. I mean, with all this upheaval and all this negativity, I mean, the only thing that could save him is the damn cave beast. So it might be a good shot.
Yeah.
That's why he's trying to pardon a bunch of black people. Some Republican is now saying that he should pardon Marcus Garvey because he definitely really gonna need black votes now.
Yeah, he's not gonna get in here with his own base.
He said Bose would go vote for him. I'm still at home.
Yeah. He doesn't have enough people in his base. They need that black vote in order for him to win.
Lisa, I had a question to ask about this. Ask you about this.
Yeah.
As far as in the Bible, and possibly, I know people ain't read all of them, but the lost books. What wasn't Trump also prophesied?
You
I
know,
think
he
he
might have been.
was. I think a bunch of people, even Francis Quest Wilson, is that what her name was?
Francis
Yes.
Welding. Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, she prophesied that Trump will be in office along with another guy.
Yeah. You know what? I think the opposite, KD. I believe he's going to make 2 terms. At first, I didn't, but when I see the way things are going, no matter this, in the eyes of his supporter, like the Richard Spencers and all of them, he can't do no wrong.
You know what? I
Because
think
what I'm predicting, I'm careful with my words because we don't have no more prophets. What I'm predicting is Trump, he's not on his level, but I did a video a long time ago. He reminded me of King Nebuchadnezzar when I had studied that. You know, basically his foolishness, and the thing, you know, it's like he's so ignorant, he don't believe in what was that thing? Even his daughter was trying to convince him about the pollution. He was talking about it's a hoax and all of this type of stuff.
He said global warming is a hoax.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, all of that. He got these real kooky isms and stuff. And I predict that we literally gonna see him just completely fall apart because we're really watching it now. Because this dude, this guy is really lazy. He's lazy.
But you know what? This go to show you that he wasn't running his business. He just hired a whole bunch of people to do it. This proves it.
All right,
there.
all right, Lisa. If I'm wrong, I gotta put $50 in your PayPal if he wins again.
But you know what? I really believe he is going to get us to war in order to get them off of this investigation.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he is low enough to do that.
So I pretty much look at it. I like I always say, put on your spiritual eyes. I look at it in that fashion and stuff. Because sometimes I'll even say it. My husband, he's pretty well versed in the Bible, and he'd be like, "Why that's going on? Why that's going on?" I said, "Well, what did the word say?" You know, sometimes we'll lose a little bit of sight of it because he's so, he's so ridiculous. And this is, in my opinion, that this is Yah's special project to deal with him the way he's dealing with him. You know, because he's gonna fall apart. He really is.
And the world queen, what some people don't see and understand is that he's actually using Trump to be in our favor. I mean, look at so many advantages that we got because of this fool in office right now. This is the best time to come together.
Yeah, because
definitely going to force the rest of the world against us because he's working on that right now. So I mean,
he sure is.
All I have to say to my people is, if we are going to unite, when he start calling for war, if black people don't start backing out and saying no, then there is no coming home. Remember, the Most High said the armies will be destroyed. So many people are going to leave for war and they're not coming back.
And their guns are going to be useless. Them things ain't going to be no good to them.
Definitely not against y'all. That's for damn sure.
Well, you know, I think I told y'all this. I was listening to Farrakhan maybe sometime last year, and he said that, you know, these military plans along with NASA, they are trying to develop a weapon to fight the creator.
Yeah. Queen, they have been doing that now for a couple of centuries, but that's what NASA, I don't know if anybody ever told you that. That's what NASA was created for. They put all of those satellites up there because they're trying to see the Most High come. That's what NASA is all about. They think they will be able to pick up, you know, any activity in the heavens on satellite and
Lord have mercy.
prepare before he comes and reclaims the world.
These people are beyond ignorance. Lord,
really believe that.
Hey, the royal queen, they could come kill me through a female cab. I ain't fighting they fucking war. I don't give a fuck what they say.
Well, NASA is not going to prevail because remember, the satellites are all going to drop back to the earth before the Most High come. You're going to hear all kinds of stories about the satellites just randomly falling back down to the earth.
Yeah, that shows you their level of ignorance, that they think that they can fight the Creator.
Yeah.
And I feel like they even feel like they can, let's sit down and have a conversation. Okay, yes, we did this and we did that to your children. Could you give us a little slack? Really?
I watched a video and a white man said that. He said it was one of the Hebrew Israelite groups that was on the street. And he turned around and said to one of the brothers, he said, I know we did you wrong with the slavery and we do you wrong up until this day. But when it's our turn to go into captivity, please take it easy on us. I was like, the arrogancy of these people.
Mm-hmm.
Plus,
no,
I said, most times we can do with them whatever the hell we want. He's going to hand them over to us when they become handmaidens and servants. And he said, we can do whatever the hell we want with them.
Well,
yeah, y'all gonna end up finishing them off. I ain't worried about shit.
Mm-hmm. I'm going straight for Becky's ass.
And I'm going to go ahead and torture all those people who harmed a black woman. They're going to go through hell with me.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, there are a few that I worked with that I'm going to get. I got some names in mind already. But yeah, he said he's going to turn them over to us and we will be allowed to do whatever we want with them.
Oh, they go hate my ass.
He doesn't care what we do.
Oh, they go hate my ass, Lisa. I'm going to put them through straight hell.
Well, I said already, KD, I'm going to make them be just like dogs. You know how you walk out of your house for 5 minutes and walk in and your dog act like you've been gone all day? That's what I'm going to make them act like when they see me.
Yeah.
Their ass, and then when I come back, they better act like they're excited to see me.
I love it. I love it, Lisa. That is a wonderful idea. I love that.
Me too. Better act like you're excited. Get one meal a day and a sip of water. That's it.
And that meal's gonna be.
Oh no, they're gonna work just like us from sun up to sundown, just like they did our forefathers.
I'm gonna feed them a bunch of scraps just like they used to feed us through damn slavery and shit.
No, feed them. I seen it on TV. On Lock Up Raw. Feed them one of them prison loaves.
Oh, that's even better. That's even better.
That stuff, I seen them make that stuff on Lock Up Raw. I was like, oh, that looked nasty.
Yeah,
nasty.
I mean, you can do whatever you want, and he said, you will lord over them. So if you want them to call you King KD and Queen True Royal, you can make them do it.
Oh my gosh, I'm having ideas in my head already, World Queen. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah. So I mean, no, you don't get to torture us, and then we got to take it easy on you.
Yeah. I would give them a toothbrush, and they would have to clean them gold streets with a toothbrush. Get on your knees with no pads and everything, and it better be right out there with a little toothbrush. Get in there going.
And Royal Queen, I'll put them directly in line with the damn sun, just like they did us, right?
That's how them hot suns out there picking cotton. I don't even know how our folks made it out there picking cotton in that sun. Yeah. They didn't have no air condition or anything. And I even read where women would have babies.
Yeah, and many of the field slaves had, when they got done working, had to lay right down on the ground and sleep.
Wow. They would have babies right out there on the cotton fields, and some of them women just birth and tie that baby on their back and keep working.
Yeah.
And even better, Royal Queen, I'm gonna make the dudes work with their shirt off, see how they can handle the head damn son.
And remember, Queen, they made the toddlers go out there and work.
Well, then that's what's gonna have to happen. Nobody gets no shoes.
Go out there.
They're gonna step on rocks, all kind of stuff. them little pine needles that stick to your socks. No, you ain't getting no shoes. You ain't getting no gloves. You ain't getting no sunglasses. Your ass gonna be out there baking. They didn't did us, hanging us from trees. They have really, really, really hurt us. I remember my dad told me a story where this slave master was always kicking in the door to have sex with one of his slaves' wives. It was one that he liked in
that happened to one
particular.
of my grandmother's. My grandmother had a friend that was blind, and I thought she was born blind. True Royal. One day when I was about 16 years old, she told me how she became blind. By the time she got to the end of the story, I was crying.
Damn.
What happened was her husband was a sharecropper, and they were both doing sharecropping for this white man and his family. And one day he came to the house, kicked in the door, took her into the bedroom, took the kids into the bedroom, tied the kids up so they couldn't leave and would watch them have sex.
Lord have mercy.
Tried to fight. He took his 2 fingers and pushed them so far into her eyes, she went blind.
My goodness. My goodness.
And this happened during Jim Crow. And
wow.
When she told me, I was almost in tears by the time she told me. But that's how she became blind.
I've told y'all this story before where my grandmother on my mother's side, when she was down in Texas, she always worked in either restaurants or she worked as a cocktail waitress. You know, they get off really late. And she was on her way home, and a white man grabbed her and took her down in a stall to try to rape her. And my grandmother always carried knives, and she killed that man. And she said it bothered her so bad. She finally seen it in the paper. She didn't say nothing to nobody at work or anything. And then my grandmother actually was the first of any of our family members to come to California. And you know what? I'm gonna show you how slavery up to this day impacts our family. Do you know the only family member that I knew of my grandmother was her. Her mother died when she was 9 years old. The last time she seen her brother, he was 16. And my grandmother didn't have a birth certificate. She didn't know how old she was or anything like that. And she was born on a reservation too, on top of that. But she said that she had to take care of her mother because she had tuberculosis, and at 9 years old she was taking care of her. And that shows you how even to this day how we've been snatched apart, that all we could do was just go by what my grandmother told me. It was nothing. It was the saddest thing to me.
Yeah, really, you know what, Queen? When King Stan wrote in here that his great grandmother was raped, that was very common. Now, when I used to go down south, I used to always find this strange until my mom had to tell me about all the rapes. I would notice that when I went down to Irwin County, Georgia, around where my dad came from, all of the elder women would have one biracial child, and then they married a black man and the rest of their kids would be black. And I noticed this pattern. It would be one biracial child, the rest of the kids black. And I'm like, why do you see that so much down here? And my mom finally had to tell me in the car ride on the way back to Philadelphia. She said, Lisa, a lot of them were raped. That's
my goodness.
That a lot. It was very prevalent down there for many of these black women to have their first baby was biracial because they were raped as teenagers. And then, they would meet their husbands later on, get married, and they would have kids. And she said, that's why you see that a lot. I saw that a lot around in that county where my dad came from.
That's amazing. That was that, you know, some book that I read, that was the same book that I forget the title of it, the book that I read where when we were talking earlier about putting us in slave camps and stuff for these different companies and everything. I also read that they really strictly warn all Black people, especially Black women, when you better get your behind in the house before that sun go down.
Yeah.
Them white men would be on the hunt. And my mother told me, they kind of bounced her around. She was in Arkansas. She would go to Texas back and forth. And she said, a cousin of ours, he was like in his early 20s. And what him and his buddies would do, they would all pile up in one car and they would go hunt white boys, and they would beat the living shit out of them. And sometimes they would come home and they would be beat up. It was an ongoing thing back and forth. And then one more story. My second
Royal, my mom told me a funny story too, similar to that, but they didn't beat nobody up. But she said they had a white movie theater and a Black movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, what was that movie? Sidney Poitier was Who's Coming Home from Dinner?
Mm-hmm.
She said when that came out, they had integrated the theater, but the white kids got to sit down on the floor level and the Black people were only allowed on the balcony. So she said what they used to do was buy drinks, sodas and stuff, pour it down on their heads, and they would chew gum up, like they put a whole pack of gum in their mouth and throw it down on white people's hair.
So stupid.
They would run out the theater. I was laughing, but she said, yeah, we did that all the time. We would throw our candy wrappers down on them.
I can see that. My second mom, I tell y'all a lot about her. She's in her 80s, and I showed y'all a picture once. She kind of favors Angela Davis. She's really tall. Well, she was telling me when she was growing up, they didn't really want for anything. They had everything on the farm, and they happened to be one of the few families that did have a little bit of money. And she said that her grandfather, white people were scared to death of him, and they would go the opposite route, because if you pass Mr. Burr, Burr farm, you're subject to come up dead. Now she says he never mentioned that he killed anybody, but she kind of felt it, and they were afraid. They was really afraid of him. And so don't ever think that all of them was sitting down there just terrorizing all of us.
No, my dad told me, I think the funniest stories came from my dad. He was telling me they had separate pools. You know, he said the white pool was all nice, freshly painted. It was really, it was really nice and everything. He said the pool on the Black side of the town was raggedy. They didn't take care of it. So he said one day they got mad and a whole gang of them, he said it probably was about 50 of them, went on the white side of the town. They all dove in the pool. They all dove in the pool and they got out real fast and ran. And they, the rest of the summer, they shut down the white pool.
Oh my goodness, that's what they behinds get.
He said for the rest of the summer, they shut the white pool down. And I was like, are you kidding me? He said, no. He said, we did it twice. He said they did it another year. They waited a few years in between and they did the same thing. A whole gang of them.
That's what, remember when I was telling y'all the other night, I was watching, I like to watch C-SPAN sometimes. They'll have people that do book reviews and things like that on C-SPAN. And this sister had wrote a book about the mischief that we would do during slavery and how they would ruin the crops, break up the tools, and how they was putting glass in powdered glass in the food. It was all kind of stuff. And the white people thought we was so dumb that we just wasn't capable, didn't know how to properly use the tools and stuff. They never caught on with that stuff was done deliberately.
Oh yeah, the women that worked inside the house was taking their money. My grandma told me stories all the time. She said when they would work for them white folks and they'd be cleaning the house, taking care of the kids, they said they used to go in their wallets and take money all the time. But no, our people didn't sit down. You know, they did a lot of things. They, you know, to get them back. They did. You know,
Yeah,
they
found ways.
realized it.
Yeah.
But she said they were so dumb they didn't even count their own money, and
Wow.
they knew it. So they would go in their wallets and just take whatever money they wanted.
Hey, remember, I think it was movies like, what was it, Color Purple? I know black folks did these sort of things. Remember there was a scene, what was it? It was some movie I was watching where it was like, you know, one of those slave type situations, and the black person, the white man was like, give me a glass of water, and the black woman spit in the water. Yeah, spit in the water.
That was
I'm
on
pretty sure a lot of our people did that back in the day.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, they did. They
It's
did.
probably spitting their sandwiches too, you know.
The one that got me when I read about where they would take that glass and grind it to a fine powder and sprinkle it in their food, and literally, if they want, they love eating our food anyway. They would take damn near half a pound of lard and put it in the greens. So it's gonna clog your arteries. And then you eating that powdered glass, you got 1,000 cuts in your belly. Now that's some treacherous stuff. They were doing like that.
I don't blame us. I don't blame us for doing that.
Yeah.
There was even a movie out about this. It was deep. This slave master had a big farm, and his wife had died, and he fell in love with his sister, and she knew how to read and write very well. They had taught her, and he couldn't do nothing. She ended up running that whole farm, and they had him pretty much on lockdown. And she even had some black men on the lookout because they would just do a little bit of work. And when they knew they was coming, everybody would run out to them fields and act like they working hard. And she would tell him what you better say and all this stuff, because he was afraid that he was gonna lose his home and his money. And they had literally took over that whole farm. I cannot remember the name of that movie. That movie was something else. It really was.
But my grandmother used, when she said she cleaned houses for like 6 months for white people, because that was the only kind of work they would give black women back in those days. And she said one day the wife went out and the children went to school, and she was scrubbing the kitchen floor, and the white man came up on her, and she was like, oh hell no, oh hell no. And she said she left and never went back. And my grandmother became a school teacher in 1931. In fact, I got a copy of her teaching certificate here at my house. But she became a teacher. She said she was not going back in any more white folks' homes to clean it.
And
one more thing, Queen. She told me another thing that spooked her. They had 3 girls and 1 boy that she would care for. And she said in the beginning, she thought it was odd, but she would always find the man's drawers in his girl's bedroom.
Oh,
and she was like, because she would get the laundry, and she was like, why is his drawers always on the floor in here?
Wow.
And that it didn't click right away. And she was like, oh my God, he's screwing his own daughters. She said he would always find his drawers in the little girls' rooms all the time.
Didn't have no decency to hide them or anything.
No, and she said she the wife knew, because a couple of times she would go in there and they would be arguing, and his wife would be yelling at him, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing.
Oh, that's sick.
And she said, that scared the hell out of her to go in there. And she said these girls were little too. I think she told me the oldest was like around 7, and there were 2 girls that were younger than her.
Damn.
So yeah, it is true when they do all that damn incest.
I was reading a book. I read so many books and forget the titles, where a woman, a sister was working in the house, and this man would want to have sex with her, and she was making soap. They would make their own soap, and she poured that kettle on him, on his lower body. And the thing that astounded her, this is a true story, was that he would not scream, but he left her alone. And then there was another book that I read, and this is another true story. This white man wanted this black woman so bad, and I remember she had 2 children. I can't remember who she had the children with, but she was damn near passing for white. And he wanted her, he was basically ordering her, well, you're going to stay at my house and you're going to cook and clean. But really, he wanted her up there for sex. And what she did was her mother hid her up in the attic, and she was up there, I forget how many years. And the kids thought their mother had went to another state, and he kept coming to the house looking for her. Then finally he started checking in other states, and she had got really sick up there because she didn't get any sunlight or anything like that. And eventually, after being hidden in that attic for so many years, she ended up leaving that state and going to another state, and she ended up marrying a guy and having a better life. Do you know that joker found her? That joker found her. And by then, he couldn't bring her back. So much time had lapsed. She had, was much bolder, and she was just willing to fight him. And later on, her kids told her, "Oh, Mom, we knew you was there all the time. We just knew not to say anything." What was so sad about that story was he was literally demanding her, "No, you gonna stay here." So he just wanted to have just take total possession of her body. And when I read stories like that, I said, that's why I'm doing this series called Our Bodies is Royal, because these bastards think they own our bodies.
Yeah.
They'll even have a nerve to touch our hair.
Yeah, that's why they don't like rejection from us.
Mm-hmm.
That they take that is really something that really destroys their core when we reject them.
Yeah.
I had a situation with a white guy a white guy stalked me. This must have been like around 2004. I got stalked by a white guy, and he wouldn't leave me alone. So finally, I got sick and tired of it. And he got my phone number, and I didn't give him my phone number. He was getting everything. So finally, we moved to another location, and that was how I was able to get rid of him. But this little short, bald-headed white guy was stalking me.
Oh, that's creepy.
They you know what I think with them? I think because they got that animal DNA in them, everything just becomes a compulsion for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What was it?
No. I'm not going to sit up here.
I don't know why he was bothering me, but he just lost his
He had the attitude like he didn't pick you out and you is his, and he gonna get you by any means necessary. Damn.
That's an issue.
Oh, no. I'm not going to sit up here and let Cave Becky off the hook. She be doing some devious shit too around some of us brothers.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Family, I'm gonna let you. I'm getting ready to go because I got to get my live stream started.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna come over there.
All right.
Quick story, Lisa. I had a couple of these damn Beckys, staring me down. I'm saying, like, what the hell are you staring at me for? I had to run for my life.
Yeah, they are crazy. They are seriously crazy. I mean, it got so bad. This guy would look at me and say, "Why don't you want me? Why don't you want me? What is it that you don't like?"
It was so damn bad, Lisa. Right around when I was going to Vogue school, this was right before I graduated. Back in 2001. They kept staring at me. I'm like, I don't want y'all pale ass. Why y'all keep saying hi to me?
Yeah. They are some weird ones. Let me tell you. And they are the reason why many of those black men were hung in the South. And it's just like you saying, KD, a lot of those men refused them. And she turned around and screamed rape.
Yeah, I know, I sure did. I mean, they kept saying hi to me. I'm like, what the hell you saying hi to me for? I don't want y'all pale asses. I know what y'all all about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm telling you. All right, y'all, we're going to wrap this up because True Royal is going to start her hangout. So we're going to head on over there.
Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. Such a blessing every single time.
Yes, I enjoy our time together every single time, and I hope you all come back. We'll be doing this again sometime next week.
Okay, I'll be on lookout for that one.
All right, y'all.
All right,
Shalom.
thank you, Lisa.
Shalom.
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 Ouch.